What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am so excited you are here. We're gonna learn together. This is the Tarver Academy Summer Professional Development. We're gonna learn. Learning's happening. It's going down today. We're about to get started. My name is Tyler. I run Tarver Academy. It's an online resource for teachers and students and educators, and it's a great community where people just get involved and learn and get better. And I throw resources to you guys, throw ideas around. It's just a lot of fun. Just a whole lot of fun, Tarver Academy. So if you need anything, I'm here. TarverAcademy.com has a ton of resources and things that you can go to check out. A little bit about me, just so you know, you don't think I'm just like, hey, here's a random YouTuber talking about, videos or whatever. My name's Tyler. I started out teaching high school math, and then I moved into a tech director / facilitator role. Then I was a principal of a school 6th through 12th grade. 6th through 12th grade. Fun ages. That's good stuff, okay? Good stuff. Never any drama, 6th through 12th grade. No drama. And our school had waivers from the state, so we did a lot of online, we did a lot of blended, we did a lot of in-person learning, all the above. So we get to learn a lot, make some mistakes, do some stuff right, and try to learn from everything we did. Then after that, I went to central office, and I was director of curriculum instruction, and now I'm the dean of NLC College. And I'm so excited to be here, learning and growing with you guys. I'm also giving a little bit of time for people to jump in, get started, and we're about to go through some of the housekeeping stuff. We're gonna do a little check-in right now at the beginning, and then at the end of this video, at the end of this training, we're going to have a chance for you to get a certificate showing that you actually showed up and you did the learning, okay? I think that this training and the other trainings that you are gonna get the chance to be a part of this summer are gonna help you grow as an educator. And if you grow as an educator, all it does is help the students and the community that you live in. And so let's try our best to learn something, take something away from this that we can put in our repertoire and get better with. Okay, so the first thing I need you guys to do is I need us to check in, okay? And this check-in, what it does is it timestamps when you are here so that you might not need this later, but if your administrator or whoever comes back and they're like, how do I know you didn't just click to the end? This shows that you were here at the beginning. So you can scan the QR code that is on the screen if you have your cell phone. And on my phone with me, get your phone out. I'll use my wallet, Atlanta Braves wallet. Film that, you just hold your phone over that QR code that you see on the screen. You'll see something pop up at the top. Click that and it'll take you to where you can fill out that you were here. It's very short, very quick. I'm gonna give you a little bit of time to do that right now. Go ahead, scan the QR code, go to the website, check in, and when you do that, you will get an email. If you do not get an email immediately, this happened, I told you, I was a tech director for a long time, okay? I'd say a long time. I was a tech director long enough to know that if you don't get that email that you're filling out right now, it's because you typed your email address in wrong. That's exactly what happens. 19 times out of 19 and a half times, that's what happens. So go ahead and go to that. Remember, at the end of this session, there's gonna be another QR code that you're gonna scan that is going to give you the certification saying that you actually did the training. Both of these are time-stamped. So if your administrator or whoever's in charge of PD for your district wants to see that and be like, how do I know you did this? You've got your check-in email that is time-stamped by me, not by you. It's into a PDF or it's into that email. And then you will also have the timestamp on your certificate showing that you did this. Okay, so hopefully everybody is getting that done. Okay, giving you a little bit of time. If you have any trouble, just keep trying because I think it's pretty important to get that logged in. Now, while we're doing that, if you're finishing that up, or if you can hear me, what I would love for you to do is I would love for you to hit the red subscribe button. This is my YouTube channel, Tarver Academy. That's what I call it. It's kind of where I got this started. I had this before I had the website, and then I put up the website to put all the resources and all the stuff I was doing. But if you would hit the red subscribe button right now, that would be huge. That would be just super cool of you. And that way, you can hopefully see some of the other trainings that I'm doing, see some videos I do throughout the year to help teachers, to help students, to have fun and learn together. So hit that red subscribe button. Did you do it? Did you? You get the like too, the little thumbs up. That's just YouTube etiquette. You hit the thumbs up. It's just really nice to do. So you want to hit the thumbs up button, you can. And I would love to start this. How about this? in the chat, okay? Because if you're watching this on my website, which is where you can watch it, that's fine. You're not gonna see the chat, but if you click and watch this on YouTube, you're gonna see a chat rolling on the side of the screen. Start it off. I want you guys in the chat to say who you are, like give your name, tell us what you teach and where you teach, okay? If you're an administrator, you can say that I'm a principal, or you can say your central office, whatever you do. I've got some people that have signed up for this that are aspiring educators. So this is great to say, I wanna be an educator, I wanna be an English teacher for high school, throw that in there. If you wanna be a kindergarten teacher, toss that in there, say you're in school. It's a great way to network because I think there is an amazing community of educators here wanting to learn and grow together. And I think that it's great if we look out for each other. So throw in the chat, I want you to say your name, what you teach, and where you teach. Throw that in the chat. All right, man, we're doing good. We're doing good. It's our warm up. We're feeling good. We're stretching it out. It's always good to stretch before you stretch. I don't know, I heard some friends say that, so I say it from time to time. Okay, next thing. This is another little thing. I've got one right here. So I've written a couple books. I've done Superheroes Need Sleep Too. This is a children's book. It's like a nap time book, so you don't have to read that. But this one I think is super relevant for you. This is the Baller Teacher Playbook, and in it I have like practical advice. It's 18 chapters. So the idea is that you could do this like once a week with your team for a full semester or every other week for a year and try to improve your teaching every week. I'm not doing this to sell it to you. I'm doing this to say I'm giving some of these away all summer to people that are participating in this. So if you want a chance to win one of these, or I think I probably got some other educator books. If you're like, I don't really want your book, Tyler, I got a ton of educator books. I'll send them to you. All you got to do, follow me on Instagram at Tyler Tarver. Follow me at Tyler Tarver on Instagram, and I'm gonna be giving these out throughout the summer. You might be the person I give it to. So follow me on Instagram, and then throw something in your Instagram story if you want, just to increase your chances of me seeing it. So I'm just gonna be clicking through. I see people follow on Instagram. I'm gonna throw out stuff to them. So random people get it. You might not, but you won't if you don't. So there we go. Y'all feeling good? Does everybody feel good? Everybody throw in the chat who they are, where they teach, what they teach. Okay, so to explain also what this is, you are watching, this is a live broadcast. So this is going as a YouTube premiere or a full-on live video. So one of the two. Either way, that chat is happening live. Everybody that jumps into this video at any point is gonna be watching it at the same time as you. So it's great to get in the chat and talk, discuss, ask questions, give input. If we ask a question in the video, you can type it in your notes, but you can also type it in the chat. You can copy paste from the chat. It's a great way for you to be a part of this live broadcast, okay? So if you have a Google Notes, if you have a notes document, if you wanna take notes by hand, I've got a template for notes if you want. It sent it to you whenever you filled out your email. It should have been on that page whenever you did your check-in at the beginning. If not, it's on like every PD page. I have my website, tarveracademy.com. Click on PD and you get a free notes template, or you can take notes in your own doc. However you want to do it, take notes, write down stuff that's relevant to you, and copy paste stuff that people put in the chat. There's gonna be people in the chat that are way smarter than me. And so I'd love for you to copy paste that into the notes, and you can take that and make your teaching game elevate. So next thing, while we're getting logged in, people are still jumping in here. They're still jumping in the video, giving you a few minutes to do that. We're also, if you want to watch these videos, because after this ends, it's going to be gone off of here. However, I'm going to be putting all of these trainings, all like 30 something trainings. I think it's over like 120 hours worth of trainings. I'm putting all of that for people that join what I call the Tarver Academy Honor Roll. It's a small group of educators who are trying to get better every week, and I send out weekly emails during the school year to where you're getting templates, you're getting resources, back to school starter kits, you're getting templates for Google Forms, trainings, PDs, tons of stuff every single week delivered to your inbox, and also you have access to all of these trainings. That is available if you go to tarveracademy.com/honor roll if you want to. I think it's a great decision. I think it's a great decision. Nobody's in here. Who am I talking to? I'm not talking to anybody. Okay, y'all feel good? Y'all ready to start? Y'all feel good? This is a little warm up. We'll explain what's going on. Everybody feel good? 1 to 10. Put in the chat how you feel today. Or give me this, how about this? Give me an emoji of how you're feeling today. That'd be better, 1 to 10, or give me an emoji. I'd love to see it. Or just give me a word. You're like, I don't want to do an emoji. Give me a word. How you feeling today? And let's get rolling. Remember, input in the chat, take notes, learn, grow. Welcome to the best professional development that you're gonna do. Not guaranteed, but it's an opinion, but it's also true, but it might be biased, but it's gonna be a great summer. It's gonna be a great training. Hope you guys learn something. Hope this adds you value that you can then bring to your students and make your school, your community, yourself better in some way. Guys, we're about to get started. Y'all excited? Y'all ready? We're about to do this. Let's get ready to learn and have fun. Tarver Academy. Let's go. Let's go. Hit it. Hit it. Let's go. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? So excited you're here. Today we're going to learn about Drive, Docs, and Sheets. Google Sheets, that is. Google Drive, that is. And Google Docs, that is. The kind of way this is going to flow, we're going to start with Google Drive, which is, as you know, just like what's a flash drive do? What does a hard drive do? They store things. That's what Google Drive does. It stores things, but it just stores it on Google server on the internet. So it's like you've got this cloud storage. We use that term, cloud. I'm going to store it in the cloud. It's in the cloud. That means that we can access it on our phones, our tablets, anywhere with the internet. So that's what Google Drive is. I'm going to kind of walk through. I assume most of y'all's Google Drives are pretty ugly. And I say that because mine is to an extent. I want to kind of give you some tips for organizing it, keeping it as clean as you can, and just managing it. I don't recommend anybody spend 6 hours just like sorting things in their Google Drive. Don't do that. Like sort it as you need it. But we need to be organized as we create new resources. That way we don't get frustrated later when we try to find them. Okay, so we're going to start with Google Drive. Then I'm going to roll into a tutorial on Google Docs. I'm going to kind of like, Docs is just Microsoft Word. We've been using it for years. Even if you haven't used Word, you know Docs. It's pretty basic as far as like usability. However, I want to show you a few tips on things that you can optimize that you might not be optimizing in Google Docs. And then I have my friend right after that, Dr. Alexander, who's going to come in and show you some stuff on Docs as well. She is an incredibly talented educator, and I just would love for you to hear her thoughts on how she uses Google Docs in education. So she's going to roll into that. Then I'm going to come back and talk to you about Google Sheets. I'm going to show you some things. This is like Excel. I'm going to show you some things that I do, and just kind of some basics of using not Microsoft Excel. We're not going to use that. We're going to use Google Sheets, and I'm going to show you some of the basics in using Google Sheets. And then right after that, I've got my other good friend, Miss Kiefer, who is going to show you how to do some cool stuff in Sheets that I'm not going to cover. Okay, we might overlap a little bit, but for the most part, hers is really cool. And also, the way she did her presentation is genuinely incredible. So I want you to see this. It's pretty fantastic. And so I'm going to stop talking right now, and then I'm going to start talking here in a second about Google Drive. So we're going to start with Drive, then we're going to go to Docs, myself, then Dr. Alexander, and then I'm going to talk about Google Sheets. Google Sheets. I'm sorry, I bit my tongue when I said that. Not good timing to bite your tongue. I'm going to talk about that, and then Ms. Kiefer is going to come in and do the same thing. So if you could, make sure you follow both of them. They're both incredible educators, and they provide a ton of trainings and resources. So go check them out. Give them a thank you on Twitter for taking the time to pour into your education today. So I'm going to stop talking, and we're going to start learning. Here we go.
Google Drive, it's not something that I'm like, ooh, I'm going to make this amazing lesson with Google Drive. But if you have a clean Google Drive, it can really, really make your life a whole lot easier and help you find stuff in the future and help guide you into your resources, okay, and your team's resources. So I'm going to give you some user tips I have. And I think, here's the deal. Drive is it's like email for a lot of teachers. It just stresses them out. They don't want to look at it. It's like that one closet in your house. Do y'all remember from Friends, that one closet that Monica has that's just like, she's a neat freak, but she has one closet that's really messy? I feel like that's all of our Google Drive. It's just like, 800 untitled documents that are just randomly in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some tips to clean that up and also keep it organized going forward. I'm not talking about like spend 3 hours cleaning it up. I'm going to say, let's just clean this mug up. So, okay. So we're looking at Google Drive today. First thing I want to get across to you is, what is Google Drive? Okay. Flash drive. What do you do with a flash drive? You store stuff on it. You put files on it. What do you do with a hard drive? You store files on it. You run your programs off of it because it stores the memory for that. What do you do in Google Drive? You store stuff in it. So when you're talking to people about Google Drive, keep in mind, your mind is that Google Drive equals a storage location. Now, it is not, it's like in the cloud. It's actually on Google servers, but it's out there in the world to where you can access it. And here's why I love Google Drive, because I can access it on my phone anywhere I am. So if I'm, 2 miles away from work and my house and I'm out, climbing a mountain and I need to send somebody something, I can go into my Google Drive and send it right then if I need to. So it is an app on your phone. So I think you should download that app. From the app, if you want to go in and actually edit like a doc or a sheet or a slide, it's going to want you to go do that in the docs, sheets, or slides app. So those are other apps as well. Google used to have them all in the same app. It was like OneDrive app. You could edit everything in there, and then they split it out several years ago. I would assume they did that just because whenever you start doing all that like programming, coding stuff that I'm not smart enough to understand, when you do all that, it's just too bulky, and they didn't want to put that all in one app. I'd prefer it all be one app, but Google hasn't hired me to tell them what to do yet, and they probably won't because people don't like to be told what to do. So here we go. I'm in my Google Drive. Okay, this is what a Google Drive normally looks like. I'm clicking over here on Drive. First things first, you the realist. Second things second, let's roll down the left side here, and I'm going to show you what each of these mean, and then I'm going to start giving you some tips. Okay, so right here, this is new. This means you want to create something. You want to create a doc, a sheet, a slide, anything like that. Now, here is a user tip. If you are in, let's say we're in receipts. I'm in this folder. If I hit new and I create something, whatever folder I am in, whenever I do that, let's see, load up. Here we go. All right. Okay. So I made this doc. Whatever folder I was in, whenever I did that, that's the folder it's going to default and put that in. So if you want to make something, you're in Drive, you're like, I want to make a doc. Go ahead and go to the folder that you want that doc to end up in whenever you create it, because it's going to end up in that folder. So keep that in mind. So look at this is my like navigation. Like as you get further and further down the rabbit hole of all of these things, it's going to keep going here, and you can always click up here and go back to where you were. Okay. I don't want to say that. Okay. Priority. They've added this in. You can actually add in like workspaces. See, this is my burner account, so that's why it's so empty. But you can go in and add in different things on like different workspaces. So I could make, priority. These are things that I've messed with recently or I mess with frequently. They automatically generate it and put it near the top. Workspaces you can create. So like say you have like a few things you're working on for back to school. So you've got like a parent letter, you've got a student, handbook signature, you've got your actual student handbook, you've got your classroom rules, you've got a getting to know you Google form. You can put those all into a workspace. That way, whenever you go in, it keeps all those docs together. Okay, so back on my drive. This is your drive. This is your main drive area. So I've got a friend that I work with. His name's Josh. He's incredible. Pretty much the best at everything he does. One of the things that he always gets frustrated about, though, is we always create docs and sheets and things with him, and it goes into his shared with me because we share it with him. These are things that people have shared with you. They shared with your account. Well, the thing is, he doesn't always put those into his drive. Your drive is the stuff that Google knows you want to keep. If it's just shared with me and that person goes in and deletes it, boom, they take it out. I mean, if they're the owner, it'll take it out anyways, but it keeps it out of your drive because it thinks it doesn't matter to you until you put it in your drive. So for instance, here, Lindsay, great educator out of Bryant, she made this Google Doc. It's in shared with me because she shared it with this account. Now, if I want to put it in my drive, there's a couple ways I can do it. I can right click on it and I can, add it straight to a workspace. I can add it shortcut to my drive. So essentially I can navigate my drive and find it from there so I can put it in that way. I never put it in that way. This is how I put it in there. If I see this, I'm like, okay, I want a video creation in the classroom. That needs to go into let's say I want to put it in classroom. I would click this, drag it, hold it over, and drop it. That's how I put stuff in my drive. So I drag and drop, drag and drop. All right, this little triangle right here, that's going to help you expand or contract. Is that the right term? This information. Let me see if anybody has any questions. Anybody question? Oh, hello, everybody. Okay, if you have any questions, toss them in. I want to talk about them. I can download Get Drive for desktop. You can download that, so that way you can just drop files in. It'll automatically put it in desktop. We're not going to talk about that, but it is a feature if you want it. Hey, can I go ahead and tell y'all, in case you need any other, like, in case I don't hit anything with Drive that you need, you guys know, I'm sure you all know at this point, like I have created a checklist of tutorials for pretty much everything with Google. It's like a skills checklist. So you can actually go to right here, click on Drive, and here are, where's my Drive? Where'd you go, little buddy? Google Drive, go there. Cool. Well, the Google Drive on here. Oh, it's right there. I've just overlooked it. Okay. See this right here? These are all tutorials on how to do different things in Google Drive. So if you want to use that for anything, holla at your boy. A good way to get to it is you can go to Tarver Academy, academy.com/Google. And that's where I keep pretty much every tutorial, every resource that I make on how to use anything with Google. So if you're like, Tyler, I really wish you would talk about, Google Classroom. Well, we did Monday, but you can also go in here and get all these little tutorials on Google Classroom. Here are a bunch of things on Google Drive. See, I've got a lot more in here because pretty much anytime a teacher asks me like, hey, Tyler, I saw your video. How would you do this in Google Drive? I make the video and then I link it in here. The other one's like a checklist if you want to take the Google Certified Level 1 Educator exam. So if you want, tarveracademy.com/Google. I've got a ton of Google tutorials organized on there for you if you want. Okay, sorry. Thank you for your intermission. So as we roll in, let me know on a scale of 1 to 10 in the chat, how much does your Google Drive, the organization of it, where it is right now, stress you out? 1 to 10, throw that in there. I want to see. Okay, so we're in Google Drive. This one right here, my friend Leanne, she's a phenomenal educator and really good at Google. She uses this one all the time, and I never used it until she was like, Tyler, you need to be using it. You're ridiculous. Recent, over here on the left, if you hit recent, it's going to show you the most recent documents or files that you have created or even just gotten into. How often do we create something or we get into a folder or file, make it a lesson, we bounce out, we do a couple of things, then we go back and we're like, oh, where did I put that? And you haven't like had the time to process where we actually put it. Here, it just shows you the most recent stuff that you've done or created out of it. So I could go in and see all of, these are a bunch of certificates for people because they did some of my PDs that I have online. But that would be my most recent stuff. It's a good way to pull up things you're working on right now. Starred, you can star different documents. So like I've already starred this one, I think. Actually, hold on, it's reconnecting. If it'll reconnect, I'll show you how I can star it. It's a good place to keep. I've got probably like 20 documents that are starred. It's just quick. Like they're like my favorites. They're documents that I use more often or that matter, that are really important for me to get back to. And I don't want to search for them because they're like in a folder, in a folder, in a folder. You guys, oh no. So it's like we got people on each end of the spectrum. Some people are like, I'm not that stressed. And other people are like 10s and 11s. That's okay. That's okay. You know, really? You're a 10. That's what you are. You're just great. You're that good. Okay. So I've already started this one, but I'll unstart it so you can see it. Whenever you have stuff in your drive, you remember, I'm almost positive you can't just do this from shared with me. You have to have it in your drive. But over to the right of wherever the title of the document is, there's a little star. If you tap that, boom, it's now in your starred folder. This is a good way to keep things that are important to you or that you use frequently. So trash is trash. Fun fact, Google tries their best not to delete anything that you have. So like my mom, she's not super confident on using technology, and she's always like, Tyler, I wanna go in and I wanna make that stuff in the Google, but I'm just afraid she always says, I'm gonna blow up my computer. I'm like, well, Mom, first off, computers aren't that volatile. If they were, we probably wouldn't use them. But number two, you're not gonna mess it up because Google does not want you to delete stuff. You know why? Because they don't want you to hit them up and ask them to get your stuff back. Like, hey, where's my document I've been working on for 6 months? And Google doesn't want that call. So they're gonna make it really hard for you to delete stuff. But you can go here and see trash. I don't know if I have any trash. I have some trash. There we go. Some PD stuff. Oh, that was some slides. I was trying to create something with the Google slide didn't work. Okay, here we go. We're in my drive. So in your drive, a couple quick tips for using Google Drive. The first one is whenever you're using it, over time, you're going to create folders. Okay. And as you create these folders, you're going to get a lot. Like this is I can't never use this account. So it's only got like 6 or 7 folders. But if I showed you my other account, I've got probably like 200, 300 folders that I've created over time. That's good because now I'm organizing it. However, oh my goodness. I think somebody had a good question. Oh, in a folder, in a folder, in a folder. It's a story of my life. That's so good. Mary, thank you for saying you like the star feature. I appreciate that. But whenever we are going in here, sorry, I got distracted by the comments because I love comments and I like to get distracted. 2 for 2. But you're going to have a bunch of folders. As you get more organized, you're going to have a bunch of folders. But here's the honest truth, guys. You're only going to use like, I don't know, 5 of those folders for 95% of the stuff you do. All right. You just don't. You don't use all those folders all the time, but you're going to use, a certain select folders. It does them alphabetically. And that can get annoying if you're like, hey, I need to get into my world history folder of all your resources for world history, but it's down at the W's. Well, this is what I do. I go in, I right click on the folder name, like say that receipts is really important to me. I right click, go to rename, and at the very beginning of receipts, I just put an asterisk. That's going to move it to the top of your folder list. So I would say for those folders you use frequently or that use more than the others, the top 5 folders, I would make them have an asterisk at the beginning of their name, which is going to shove everything to the top. Okay. Now, I did skip over something that I really want to address. Right here, do you guys see this? Let me zoom in. See this right here? This little 6-box thing looks like a really lazy hopscotch grid. You can click that. That is grid view. Okay. What that's going to do is going to show everything in little boxes. So see how my folders are now right here, but it does alphabetically across. I'll be honest. I do not like this, Sam. I do not like grid view and ham. I don't like grid view. I call it is what I call these when I'm doing PDs. I call this tablet view. So if you're on an iPad, this is nice because it's like bigger and you can just like tap and it feels more natural for that. But what I do is I always go over to list view. Okay, because it's just going to list them alphabetically going down. You can also sort by name. I can sort by the last time that I've modified it. So the last time I got in and messed with any of these folders or documents, I can say it's last modified at all, last modified by me, or last opened by me. So that way you can get to your most recent stuff. So I'm gonna go back to sorting by name because the modifying one gets on my nerves. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I went to Z to A and now I'm A to Z. Okay, so there you go. Another thing that I do in here is I will color code folders that are important. So it's like I have these levels of importance. The stuff that's most important, I'm going to asterisk put to the top. I always color code my asterisk stuff because then it's almost like it groups it at the beginning of my Google Drive. And so like all of my asterisk ones are like a color. Like I think I usually put them all the shade of the similar color. So all be colors. And then after that, it's just like my regular like dark gray folders. And so you can right click on any of these folders and you can go to change color and we can make it as pretty little purple. Look at that, pretty little purple. Boop. Just like that, just like that. Now, I want to show you a difference too on some folders. Look at these 2 folders right here. Do you see a difference on them besides the color? I just changed the color. Do you see a difference on those 2 little guys? On speaking, there's like a little person's, like a little circle head, looks like a anonymous Facebook profile photo. This one on receipts, it's just blank. That means that this folder is shared with people. It's shared with other people. This one is not. This is my folder and I'm the only one that has access to it. So it's a quick way to see if you've got some shares. So if you go into your Google Drive and you're like, excuse me, wait a second. I don't think that's supposed to be shared with people. You need to go in and check it. Google makes it so easy to find what I need if I do it right and pay attention. Absolutely. And I'm going to show you a couple tricks. Okay. So what I've done is I've showed you a few tips, but now what I want to do is I want to show you how to organize your drive that you have right now. Okay. So if you didn't care about it, I don't care about color coding. color aesthetics don't matter to me, Tyler. I'm just a teacher through and through, and I don't need to look at pretty things. That's fine. That's totally cool, and I respect that. What I would do is right now, you probably have like, I mean, this is, again, I never use this, but you probably have like 200 in your main drive. You probably got like 100 or 200 documents and stuff that you've created over time that doesn't have a place. They're just like freelancers just chilling, like cattle grazing in an open field. What we want to do is, I'm going to tell you, don't go through and be like, I'm going to go to each file and organize them. Don't do it. You know why? Because you're never going to go back to 99% of those files. What I always recommend to people is I say, select the top one, whatever the document is, documents, slide sheets, all that. Click that. You're going to scroll down to the very bottom, and I'm going to hold the shift button, and I'm going to hit click. That's going to select everything in between. Then you're going to right click just anywhere in the middle of those selected people. So I'm going to right click, and I'm going to, oh man, I did that wrong. I did it wrong. Okay, so there you go. Teacher tip. If you mess up, there you go. This is what I would do. I would go in and I would, from my main drive, select new folder, and I'm going to name it archive. Archive. Hit create. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of those documents, and I'm going to drag and drop them into the archive folder. That's the way you should do it. I don't know why Google doesn't have it to where I can just select them all, right click, and then put them in a folder. I'm sure they will soon because, well, Google does great things and Google always wins. So also, I got a lot of grounds in this. There's a good chance I got a lot of little black dots in my teeth right now. So if I do, just let me know in the comments. The Electric Academy said, my drive is a horror show. Hey, by the way, you guys should check him out on his YouTube channel. It has some amazing videos. Go click. You can actually click on his name in the chat and go look at his YouTube videos. Ignore me and go watch his stuff. He has a phenomenal channel that you should definitely check out. My drive is a horror show. Well, you know what? Horror movies make a lot of money. So you're going to make a lot of money. That's what that means. Okay. So, oh, stop. He said, oh, stop. For real, check him out. He's really good. So from there, I've created those. You take all, okay, sorry. We're in cleanup drive mode. Step one, take all of those random documents that are just chilling. You're going to create a new folder called archive, select them all, and then you're going to put them into that folder, okay? Now, you're thinking to yourself, well, Tyler, what if I, what if I needed, there was like a few documents in there I use all the time, and now I used to just scroll and look for them. I would search and I'd find them. That's fine. That's cool. I'm going to show you what to do from here to keep organizing your drive. So pizza hands, it's a silly word that I say as a joke. Okay, so I've created this doc. It is saving, rendering, enhance, use move to and drop down. Let me look at that. Okay, so somebody just had a really good piece of advice. Where is it? So I'm archive. Let's see if we can organize this way. So I'm in archive. You selected all of these. Was move to in there and I just overlooked it? I think it was. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, whoever said that. Let me give you credit. T Null. Okay, thank you. So yes, I create a new folder and I drag and drop. You don't have to do that. That is a one way to do it. And that's one of the great things about Google is they make 2 to 5 ways to do everything. So you can drag and drop them in the folder. You could also select all of those random documents, right click, and you can say move to, and then you can actually create a folder from there. So create an archive folder from that. Very well put. Thank you, T Null. 10 points to Gryffindor. You got that. Thank you so much. Okay, excellent. So we're in here. I want to show you this. Okay, next thing we're doing. You're thinking to yourself, well, Tyler, I put those in my archive, but what if what if it needs to be in a special folder? What if it is like something legit that I need to utilize, later? What if it's something that I use frequently and I need to put it in a certain folder? Here's what you do. We're going to put everything into the archive folder. But as you use it, you're like, oh, I needed that document. And you're like, oh, that's a good document. We're going to sort them into folders as we need them. Okay. So it's almost like a need to use basis is what we're doing. If we don't need to use it all the time, we're going to leave it in archive. But if I'm in here, say this document is in Google, in my archive that I've put, from here, where that star is, I can also click that move folder that I ignored earlier when it was a, here, make that a little bit bigger. I can actually organize it into a folder directly from here. So this is how we're going to organize our drive. We are going to take all those random folder files. We're going to put them into one folder, archive. And then from this point forward, we are going to organize our drive as we use it. Okay. So don't go backwards. Don't spend 8 hours sorting through every document, creating folders. Don't do that. Number one, you won't do it. You'll talk about doing it, but you'll never do it because it's just a waste of time and you don't want to do it. Just organize it as needed. It's an as needed basis. Okay. So I'm going to go to here to move. I'm going to find a folder that it goes in. But here's the thing. Let's say it goes in, there's not a folder for it. Like, I need to create a folder for this because you're just now getting started in organizing your drive. In the lower left, there's a new folder button. You can click that. You can say important documents. You can hit the check. And then you're like, you know what? I'm in that folder, but I actually need a folder within the folder. You can create another folder called silly word titled documents. Boom. Now I can move it actually not only in a folder that I created in there, but in a folder in a folder. So you can actually organize your drive as you get it from there. Yeah, I know. And you're thinking to yourself, well, Tyler, that's cute and sweet, but that's still only dependent upon whenever I go into my drive to find stuff. Okay. Well, fun fact, I want to show you this. So let's say I get right here, I got an email. I'm in my Gmail account. That's where we receive a lot of folders, okay? Or a lot of documents, a lot of things that we have to store in our drive. You can actually have a very organized, well put together drive that you never actually go into Drive to organize. You can do it all from your email. So as you, from this point forward, don't go backwards. From this point forward, as you receive an email that has something, you can go in. This is already in a folder, so I'm actually going to go to a different email. Let's say, okay, let's go here. So earlier I emailed myself the algebra standards and then the rough draft of the book that I just wrote. So let's say I want to organize this and I want to put this PDF into a folder in my drive. I can download it directly. That's what that means. But also I can go to this. I can click on the little recycling bin, the little drive symbol. I'm about to sneeze. I can feel it. I'm so sorry that if that happens. I hope it's not gross. Okay. I can click add to drive from there, and then I can organize it in my drive. I'm sorry. I've got the sniffles. Okay. So from there, I'm at the same view that I was earlier. Remember when I clicked move to? I can organize my drive, create folders, do all of it from my email, new book. And then I can put rough drafts. Boom, move here. And I can organize this one as well. Let's say I want to put this here. Boom. I want to put it in, let's see, standards. Just start organizing stuff as you get it. Boom. I feel like I'm yelling. Am I yelling at you guys? Is that frustrating that Tyler's yelling at you for no reason? Google Inception. That is correct. That is very well put. Mary said, I do this with my students to help them organize their Google Drive. I had them find untitled and move them to folders or create folders for the items. We spend a whole class period. Mary, that is so good. Now, after you do that, after they put in that time, effort, and energy into do that, whenever you do that, do you have do you see in those students that they try to keep it organized that point forward? Or do you think that after that, they're just like, okay, we did that because she made us. We're not going to keep it organized. Or do you think that's like motivation for them to keep it organized? Okay, another good question. She asked, why does your user account say G Suite right here in the upper right? The reason is this is my Tyler at tarveracademy.com. So I pay, I think it's like $10 a month is what I pay to have a email account hosted at tarveracademy.com. So I have tarveracademy.com as the website, but then I also with Google pay that $10 a month for them to host this. So I can actually create email accounts and anything I want with at tarveracademy.com. So it's essentially what your school did, but theirs would be under like a nonprofit, but that's what they did. So good question. Very good question. Very good question. Some do, some don't, is what Mary said. That's true, right? Some do, some don't. Some students continue, keep it clean and organized, some don't. Same with teachers. So a couple more things I want to show you. Y'all ready for this one? I don't think you're ready to bump this jelly. Here we go. That's a Beyonce quote. I don't know what that means, so I hope it's not inappropriate. So here we go. Let's go into, where did I just create it? New book. Okay, so here's a little trick in Drive that I think is really neat that a lot of teachers might not know about. So whenever you're in Drive, here we go. I received this as a PDF. It's just a simple document of me, like of the book that I wrote or whatever. So in there, I have it as a PDF. Think of all the documents, all the great resources you have that are PDFs. Here's the problem with PDF. If you want to make a change on it, what do? I know what I used to do is I would print off the PDF. I would go in and put like Post-its. I would tape like a Post-it over the top of whatever problem I wanted to change, and I would write on top of it, or I would adjust it, and I'm like taping things on top of it. You don't have to do that anymore because you can take a PDF. I can right click on that PDF and I can say open with Google Docs. What it does is it takes that PDF and it's reading the entire document and it's converting it into a editable Google Doc. Now, if you'll notice from the PDF original one, there was a picture in there at the top that my buddy Steven made as a graphic for the book. It didn't put that because it's reading for text. It's not reading for photos. So if you're putting something that's got a lot of pictures in, it's very picture heavy, it's not going to translate as well. But if it's text, it's going to pull all that stuff. Now, the formatting is going to be a little silly, but guess what? I don't have to retype 118 pages. I can just go in and edit and change around stuff and adjust it. It's better than starting from scratch. Faux show. So that's a fun little thing. Like you want to pass lesson plan folders together. Oh, okay. So Holly had a good question. How do I combine two folders? Let's see if you can do the move to thing that T. Null talked about earlier. So let's say I want to combine this one and this one. Let's see if I can hit right click and move to. Yep, you can do it. So I can select two folders that I've already done, hit move to, and then I can create a folder from there, newest folder. And I can put them both in there. Now, if you're asking, Tyler, that's not what I was saying, Tyler. I was saying I've got documents in one folder. I've got documents in the other folder. I want to put all those documents into the same folder. Because what I just did is I put these two folders into another folder. Let's say you were talking about that. This is how I do it. I don't know if it's the best way. There might be an easy way. If you do, tell me in the comments. But if I go in here, I can take these two right here, and I want to put all their files into one folder. I go into the first folder. That's a rough drafts. Let's say I want to go all the way to the docs. I take this. I'm going to drag and drop them just into newest folder. Then I'm going to go over to the other folder in that thing. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to drag it and drop it into newest folder. So that's how I do it. I go into each folder and I drag and drop them all into that. And then I don't forget to go into into that, and then delete those two empty folders that I have now. Right, take those, right click, and then I'm going to remove those mugs. Remove those mugs. And that's it. That's what I would do. So that's pretty much the gist of Google Drive. Can you guys think of any questions you want me to answer? Any thoughts you have? Like I said, put everything in an archive folder, and then from here on out, start organizing. As you receive those files, toss them in there and do that. Okay? Sweet. If you have questions, throw them in. I'm not done. I'm going to do like my outro stuff that I'd love to talk about. First thing, if you would subscribe, that'd be really cool. I really appreciate that. Trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I'm not even halfway there. I'm like 40,000. So, oh man, you lost me. My camera died. Sorry about that, everybody. But I keep talking so you can keep hearing me. So whenever my goal is to get that many, so if you would subscribe, that'd be great. If if these resources, because I do have a ton of resources for students, if that would help you, in your classroom, if that would help your students, then I would really appreciate it if you would have your students subscribe too. Like, I don't cuss in any video, so I am safe to share with students. I've got a lot of Google tutorials for students. I've got a lot of math tutorials. I've got some English stuff. We're working on history. We've got a ton of different subjects of things. Also got digital citizenship courses that you can use. So if you want to subscribe, I'd appreciate it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Whatever. I'm going to stop talking. Okay. Stop pitching myself. Let's see. I hope we got some questions. Word docs open the same as PDFs. Yes. Oh, Ann. Okay. Ann Atkins. She had a great point. Let me see if I can find a Word document. Where is it? Oh, I can show you guys how to search and drop. That's a good thing. Okay, look. So Google, spoiler alert, is really good at searches. You know why? Because they created like the best search engine of all time. When you search in your drive, that's a good way to find stuff. Okay, it's going to pop up things based on this. But look at this. You can actually hit this drop down and you can pick what you're searching for. Say you're looking for, you're like, hey, I really need my evaluations. And I know that it's a spreadsheet. You can actually say, I'm searching spreadsheets. You can choose what the owner is. Location, you can pick where it's located in your drive. If you know it's like in a big folder or something like that, you can search your trash, your start, date modified. I'm just doing this. I'm going to go up here. You can do type : spreadsheet, and then you type the word. Boom. It's going to bring up every spreadsheet that has the word post in it. So that's a good way to search. You can do type and then type whatever it is. I usually don't do that. I just click and I choose what type it is and I pick what I'm searching for. Let's say I just want to look for anything I have that is a presentation. Boom. Oh, I have something really good to show you guys before we leave. I know I was doing my outro stuff, but I have something good I want to show you. So here are my presentations that I've got. These are all like different PDs that I do for people. Great, great, and wonderful. Okay, I need to show you something. This is really good. I was looking for a Word document before I got distracted. I know it's somewhere. Let me see. It's not in there. I don't know why I clicked in there. I need to search for a Word document. I got distracted. Tyler, don't try to teach them two things at once. Don't be silly. I don't see Word in the drop downs. Where was it? I'm trying to think where I might have it. Maybe it's in receipts. Maybe it's in here. I'm just searching my drive. You're like, what did I do today? Oh, I watched a guy search his Google Drive. Oh, you can't see very well. How about this? Is that better? Small Tyler. Big heart. Okay. Oh, here we go. Okay. So Anne said you can open Word documents the same as PDFs. Look at this. Here we go. These are Google Docs. The blue ones with the 3 lines, little Adidas lines. Those are Google Docs. This is a W. That's a Word document. When you double click on it, it opens it up like this. Now, do y'all see that feature it's talking to me about? You can actually edit and collaborate on Google Docs in real time. Well, it's just pitching Google Docs. I thought you could do that with Word. Never mind. I can make comments on Word. So if you're a teacher and your students are submitting in Word, you can actually go in here and make comments on that from here. There you go. But I can open these as Word. They look like PDFs, and I can actually convert that open as Google Docs. Now, here's the deal. Here's the deal. You guys, your school, all your stuff is probably committed to Google at this point. Like, the only person still using Word is your CBA teacher, and that's because they have to. Give it 10 years. Am I right, guys? And then nobody's going to be using Microsoft Word. Okay, take a coffee while we ponder on what I just said. But here's the issue. You've been a teacher for 2 decades. You've got a ton of incredible resources. And you're saying, Tyler, I do not want to, one, create all those same resources as a doc or a slideshow or a spreadsheet or anything like that. Okay, well, you can just drag and drop them in here, or you can hit new and you can upload the entire folder. Okay? You're like, well, okay, well, that would make it easy to put it in there, Tyler. But here's the deal. If you, this is something based on that, and then I'm going to keep this same thought going. If you only see file upload, that means you are in either Safari or Firefox. You are not in a Chrome browser, okay? If you want to upload an entire folder with subfolders and everything else, you have to be logged into Chrome, okay? So that's just a user tip. So if you don't see folder upload, it's because you're logged into the wrong type of browser. So sign into Chrome, upload every folder of every document you've ever done. It'll take like 10 minutes, and then they'll all be in your Google Drive. You'll have access forever. If they clean off the servers at your school, you won't lose all your stuff. You'll still have it in here. Now, here's the other problem. Whenever you do that, you're saying, Tyler, that's going to upload a bunch of Word documents. And then every time I want to go and edit that Word document, I have to right click, I have to go to open with, and I have to go to, Google Docs. You're like, I have to do that every single time. That's super annoying. I'm about to show you a setting that you need to turn on. If you're working in your Drive right now, if you're not, go get a desktop computer next to this or split screen me or whatever and do this, okay? You ready? It's very complicated. You need to follow along, okay? There's like 15 steps. Hit the settings gear, go to settings, turn on this checkbox, convert uploads, and you're done. Well, you got to hit done, and that's it. So it wasn't a complicated process. I was just kidding. But go turn that on. I'm going to do that again so you can see it, okay? Settings, the gear, hit settings, click this box right here. When you click this box, what that does is every time you drag and drop a document, like a Word document, a Excel, a PowerPoint, every time you drag and drop them or upload them into your Drive is going to automatically take that file and convert it over, okay? Word documents that don't have a lot of photos, they're almost perfect, okay? They're almost perfectly formatted. They're really close. Excel, it is perfect because everything's contained inside of cells. With PowerPoints, it's going to, the formatting is going to be a little bit off. So whenever you go into your PowerPoint, some stuff's going to be sized weird. And the reason is because PowerPoint and Google, like Microsoft and Google, they own the rights to different fonts. And so if Google can't read or doesn't have the rights to the font that Microsoft Word had, or I'm sorry, that PowerPoint had, then they're going to read it and turn it into a font they find is similar. So they're trying their best, but you might have to resize some stuff. But it's still, all the content's there. So I highly recommend you convert everything over. When students turn in work from Google Classroom, their work floods your Drive. I'm not their main teacher, so many of those docs I don't need or want. Any suggestions? Oh, we got a Google Drive question. So good. So what you need to do is you need to be a teacher of that class. They need to add you as a teacher, because every time you have a Google Classroom, Google automatically creates a folder for your classroom. So this right here is Classroom. If I click on it, it's going to have a folder for every single class I've ever created in Google Classroom. Now, this again is my burner account, so I've only got this one class, but it has this, and it organizes the folder based on the class. And then every time you make an assignment, it'll make a new folder automatically for that assignment, and it'll automatically put those students' things in there. So if you're getting flooded with student work, tell them to stop emailing you stuff from that. Just have the teacher add you as an instructor, and then tell the students, like, look, don't email me that. I can go in and see your work as you submit it or as you're working on it in those folders. So that'll automatically keep it organized for you. That's what I would recommend. So I hope I answered your question. If not, you can say mean things about me in the chat. Upload to Doc, game changer. Yeah, I like that. Let's see. Mary said, I share documents, but people can't always seem to open them. Have I shared with outside the organization? Maybe. Yes. So let me show y'all that too. That's good. Man, you see, you guys should just ask questions the whole time. I should never come in with anything because y'all ask better questions and stuff that I address. So let me go in and find a document. Okay. So here's the deal. You guys, from your school account, you're signed into at yourschool.com or yourschool.org or .edu or whatever, and you go to hit share. By the way, they just revamped it, so it looks a little different on here. Drink a coffee because I've been yelling at you for 50 minutes. Now, from here, if you're sharing a doc and you're making it like, I think this is what you're talking about, Mary. Whenever you make it and say, hey, anybody can look at this, go for it. But then you have people who are like, I can't see it, I don't have access. Whenever you go in and you change it, you hit anyone with the link. Whenever I'm signed into, like, this is a user, like an organization, but also like it's not a school, and Google is trying to be more protective of schools' privacy. So if you click get shareable link or share with anybody with the link, the default on your school account is going to be viewable at the link by anybody with your domain. And so they're trying to keep it in your domain. So when you share with an outside source or a parent, or if you put it on your website, the only people that'll see it from that link, if you have that setting, are people that also are signed in to their school account. Now, here's the deal. And you're going to get this from students and other teachers alike. whenever you are sharing it with them and you make it accessible and you tell them it's only to people, with our email account, and they're saying they still can't see it, they don't have access, it's because they're opening it up on their phone or their desktop and they're signed into the wrong account. 9 times out of 10, if you share it with somebody and they can't have access and you click the button, it's because they're signed into the wrong email account. Just tell them, say, yo, students, you got to sign into your school account. Now, if you want anybody to see it, you still have the option. You just have to go in and change it from, share with anybody at, box.schools.org can view. You would change it to anyone with the link can view. So you just have to go in and make sure that setting, because the default is that. And another thing that there's not a lot that annoys me about Google, but this annoys me, is it's hard in Drive to share a document with, it's hard to share. Sorry, it's hard to share. I don't see the setting. I still haven't figured it out. Whenever you want to hit share and get shareable link and you want to make it unlisted in Google Drive on your iPad or on your phone, I don't see the option to make it shareable to anybody. It restricts it to sharing within your organization. So it's like you have one less option if you do it with your iPad or your phone. Okay. So I'm going to throw that out there. If you're on iPad or phone, you can't share with anybody. You have to do that from desktop, at least from what I've found. I may be wrong. Let me know. Share documents, people can't always open them. I've shared them with someone else on my organization. I didn't even show up your question that you asked. You opened a file with Google Docs and kept looking for my save as button. Whoa, it automatically puts it in my drive. Yeah, Google, if you open a file, everything saves automatically. And it's so awesome. There's only one thing in Google that doesn't save automatically. And that is if you're in your email settings and you make a change, you have to click save changes. It's crazy. Everything else saves automatically. I do need to shave. Let's see. I'm a teacher in 20 plus classes because I'm special. Oh, so your drive is full of documents from all the students in those classes. So when I'm searching, all those docs show up. Okay. Yeah. Are you a co-teacher for those classes? If not, Lori, you need to ask all of those teachers to add you as a co-teacher. Okay. And if they're hesitant, well, one, that they're not very nice. But also, number two, they need to add you, because if not, you're going to get all that random stuff. You need to have it to where so that it'll sort it automatically. And then I would probably turn off notify me, because you don't want all those emails of getting notified in classroom.
All right, awesome. Drive, check. We're done with that little guy. So hopefully you caught some things that maybe you hadn't thought about or done before. And I hope from here on you can be a little more organized and use Drive to help you, not frustrate you. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to roll into some Google Docs. I'm going to show you some things that I use, some quick tips, some little handy dandies that you might not be using right now with Google Docs. So Tyler, take it away. Yeah.
So I'm in my Drive and I'm going to create new. Hit new, and then it's the first one of all the things that you can create, except for a folder. And I'm going to hit Google Docs. That's going to bring up our Google Doc, boom, just like that. Okay, so here we go. Does anyone else out there have numerous amounts of documents, forms, sheets, all that stuff in their Google Drive that are titled untitled document? I would assume if you're like me, you do. Okay. I love Google and I still have a ton of documents titled untitled documents. So I'm going to show you a quick workaround to where you can hopefully not have to worry about as many of those. So let's title this intro. Let's click in here. Intro to Google Docs. Okay. And then I can start writing blah, 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 blah. Okay. Now, up in the upper left-hand corner, that's where you would normally title your document. All I'm going to do is I'm going to click up here, and it's going to pull from the first thing I wrote in my document. It's going to pull it up there and put it in the title. Now, you can always change it. You can title, you can put whatever you want with it. You can change that, but it's a good way to quickly get a title if you don't have one already. Okay. Now, a couple other things. You'll notice right here, do you see next to the right of Intro to Google Docs, see where it says saving? As you type something, it's trying to save it to your Wi-Fi. So as you're typing, you don't have to go in, because anybody ever been in Microsoft Word and you like work on this paper for a couple of hours and you're like, oh, this is a great paper, this is the greatest paper, it's going to change the world. And then you see like your computer freeze up like mine did a second ago. And you're like, oh no, when was the last time I saved my paper? And you go in and you hope and pray that it just comes back to you. But if it doesn't, you lost the whole thing. Well, with Google, they save everything as it goes. And so it's all saving throughout the process. Okay. Now, we did a Google Drive tutorial last week. We talked about how you can stay organized directly from your Gmail. Well, you can actually continue to stay organized directly from the doc that you create. So let's say I created that doc. Now, keep in mind, wherever you are, whichever folder you're in, whenever you create that doc, that's where it's going to go live. So Google is automatically going to think, okay, they created a new doc. Whatever folder they were in when they created it, that's probably where they want it. And so they're going to put it there automatically. Now, I just created it from my general drive, but I can go up here to the right of my title and I can click the folder and I can actually move it into a folder or create a folder to put it in directly from here. So I can go in. I can call this, I don't think I have a folder on this, Tea Time with Tyler. And then I could call this, create a folder inside there called Google Docs, create that, and then I can move it in there automatically from there. I think my computer might be about to die. That's not good. This morning has been crazy. That's what I get for rushing it. That's what I get for rushing the process, but it's okay because there's a charger nearby. So let's keep going. Ooh, one of the things, this is really good, okay? So this is a good tip for teachers, but also for students. If you have students and they ever have like a long paper that they need to write, I said I had a charger. If they have a long paper they need to write and they're not fast typers, but like they have to write an essay in a short amount of time, I wanna show you a little workaround. I've written grad papers in the past week using this. So I'll go up here to Tools, go down to Voice Typing, and it's going to pop up this little box. And this is exactly what you think it is. Watch this. Hello, this is me talking. And this is my document writing in what I'm saying. This is an amazing feature if you need to write a lot, but you don't have a lot of time to do it. Or if maybe you know what you want to say and you don't have to sit and think about it and use the typing to slow down your brain. You just want to get your words onto paper. This is a good way to do that. And as long as you talk kind of like a robot, it works really well if you don't have a super Southern accent like I usually have. And this is the part whenever I show people this, where English teachers are starting to get a little bit antsy, a little sweaty, because Tyler has not used punctuation at all at this point. But watch this. You can actually end a sentence by saying period. That will stop that sentence, period. Then you can start a new sentence, exclamation point. And then maybe another one can come after that, question mark. So this is a really good feature, and I'm going to stop it because it's just saying what I'm saying. I'm going to have to hook up to a power source. So while I'm hooking up to a power source, this is what I want you to do. I want you to put in the chat what your favorite feature in Google Docs is. If there's a feature that you like, something like voice to text, and you can just say voice to text. If you just found out about it, say that. Whatever your favorite feature is while I plug this into the charger, it's going to be about 10 seconds. So go now. Hey guys, I'm back. Oh, feels good. It's like when you get a fresh charge, you're just like, I'm not sweating as bad. I'm still sweating, but it's only 8 in the morning, so we're good. So let me look at y'all's chat and chat with you, because I haven't interacted much because I've been like trying to, get this out. I was like, I can get this out before it dies. Can't. Connection is better to, yes. Oh, connection's so much better. So I got to go to Walmart and buy like an Ethernet cable, because at home, I guess it's because like my hotspot's far, my access point's far away. I don't know what it is, but I'm glad I'm at work right now, and this is just, it's better. And there's not as many people on the network. Mary, so glad you made it. I saw you commented on a video and you were like, we're still doing it today. And I was trying to actually get all the graphics made and put up today to let you guys know. Yes, use this with your special ed students. Oh my goodness. Yes. I love that you can convert things. That's on my list. I've actually got a list of things I want to show you guys today if we have time. I feel like I've talked way too fast today. I'm going to slow it down. How are you guys doing? Grab that coffee and take a sip. You guys are teachers and you're changing the world. I'll tell you this. Can I say this for real? I'm going to get real with you guys. I get the chance to do a lot of stuff with education, obviously, because I work in education, but with marketing, digital stuff. I get to talk to people at companies, all this stuff. And I think from what I can see, teachers have a larger impact on where the world goes than almost any other profession ever. And it's never stated. Like, I feel like, honestly, like people have almost taken it for granted how much of an impact teachers have. But if you think of how to make like real change in this world, real positive change in this world, the only universal thing that every young person does is goes through education, because it's like it's required by law. So whenever they go through, like, yeah, you have certain spots where they're homeschooled or they don't attend or whatever it is, but for the majority, there's almost nothing that touches every single person and has a connection point to help change this world in a positive way as education. And I just think that teachers they're undervalued, underappreciated. And I don't mean that like, oh, we're undervalued, pay us more. Like, I get that. I'm just saying that I genuinely believe that the amount of influence educators have on the entire world, like what we're doing now, is going to impact generations from now, like 20, 30 years from now. It's impacting the values, the culture, the education that we've put in these students is going to have impact. So sorry, I didn't mean to go on that tangent, but I just need you guys to know that. So autosave, absolutely incredible feature. A lot of you guys said that. It is a big deal. Now, this is where it autosaves. Can I show you guys something based on that? So that's where it show you it's saved. Right underneath it, do you see this right here? It says last edit. Okay, this is what's called revision history. So this doc I just created, so there's not a lot of revision history, but I want to go to this doc. You guys have probably seen my skill checklist I made. It's like a bunch of tutorials on anything Google that you would ever want to learn. I even got stuff on Google Docs. So if you're like, I wish you'd have covered that, I've got it in here. So just go to tarveracademy.com/Google and you can get this. It's yours. So in here, this is a document that took me several years to work on. Look up here in the top middle. It says last edit was 3 days ago. If you click on this, you're actually going to see every iteration of this document since the day it was created. So they have this in Sheets as well. You can, I think Forms does it. So I'm not sure. I'd have to check. I know Sheets does it. I know Slides does it. I know Docs does it. And if you know that Forms does it, let everybody know in the chat. But you can actually see every edit and who made it. Look, you can see that I made all these edits. Look at all this. Made all these edits. Look, I was in a different account, but I made that there. And I can click and see what this document looked like on May 14th, 2019. And I can click on it and view that version of the document. You can go in, look at this. See, I don't know if look, I wasn't done with all the videos. Tech integration, I didn't have all those in there. I had a big chunk of videos done. Yellow, when I was doing this, yellow meant that I had made the video, but I haven't uploaded it yet. And then, so I'd made a bunch of these videos. Man, I made a big chunk without editing. It takes a long time to edit. So I went in, edit all those. I can scroll back even further. Is it further or farther? I don't know. I'm good at that. I'm not an English teacher. You guys know this. You know this to be true. You can tell with my words, I'm not an English teacher. So look here, I didn't even have my graphic at the top. I had just gotten the list and asked Eric for permission to use his checklist before I made the videos. But look, I had so many I hadn't done. And actually, you can title the revisions of this. So you can just say like, this is, say this before I added Tammy to the document, say pre-Tammy, before she got in there and started, messing things up. I'm just kidding. Tammy's great. She's amazing. Now, here's another cool thing. Let's talk about that. Let's say you make a document. Say you make a lesson plan. And then somebody's like, oh, I want to use that lesson plan next week. Can you share it with me? You're like, sure. You share it with them. Well, a year from now, when you go and look at your lesson plan, you're looking at it and you're like, that's not the lesson plan I made. That looks terrible. That's all messed up. That's not what I wanted. And then you can go, well, I can go to revision history and I can see who made those edits. You're like, oh no, Tammy made the edits. Tammy, you're great. But Tammy made these edits and you don't like those edits. You can go find this document and what it looked like before Tammy got into it. And then you can click those 3 dots. I call them the ant with the legs ripped off. You can click that and you can actually make a copy. So you can take, what it was a year ago and you can make a copy and poof, it'll make a new copy of that. You'll still have the original. Okay, so you're not restoring it to the, the old version, but you'll have a new copy that looks like that one from then. So I could also restore to this version. I definitely don't want to because I want the one with all the videos in there. So I'm gonna hit the back button and get out of there. So there you go. That's a cool little feature in Docs is revision history, and that's how you get there. Also, it's really good if you share a doc with a group of students and 5 students are supposed to work on it. You can go in there and see which student did what work. And so you can be like, oh, wow, that one kid, Hermione did all the work. And Ron just sat there and just like watched her get him an A. So, which we all know is actually very true. So, all right, what else we need? Somebody mentioned in there saving as Microsoft Word. So, fun fact, I don't like Microsoft that much. And so I have not downloaded Microsoft Office to my computers since 2011 or 12. I have not had it on any computer I've worked on. And here's why. I don't like using it. So the deal is, though, I ended up going to college and getting my specialist degree, and I was doing it all online. Well, all of those professors, they're a little bit what you would call old school, and they wanted everything submitted as a Word document. And they're like sticklers for format. It's got to be APA format, and the margin's got to be this, blah, blah, blah. So what I did was I downloaded a template that was APA formatted. I uploaded it into Google Docs, and I would use that as like my template. I'd go in and just make a copy of it, and I would, put in my information, write my papers, whatever it was. Then when I needed to email it to them to submit it, this is what I do. I go to File, Download, and you can choose to download it as a Microsoft Word document. And I'll tell you this, the formatting is almost perfect for whenever it does that. So I did that, boom, downloaded it, emailed it. I couldn't open it as a Word document. Now, Google has actually added the feature where you can open something. So watch this. So like File, Download, Microsoft Word. Okay, so I downloaded the Word document. Now let's see, I need to show you where to put this. How does this go? I made it a folder earlier, didn't I? Yeah, I made one that was called Tea Time with Tyler. So I'm gonna drop this in there. If I'm going too fast, just say slow down, Tyler, chill. I know we only got like 10 more minutes though, so I want you guys to, there it is, Tea Time with Tyler. Okay, now I've got mine set up. I'm going to show you this 2 ways to upload this. So I've got a Word document. Now I have mine turned on to where it automatically converts. So when I drag a Word document in here and drop it, what Google is going to do, it's going to take that Word document, it's going to read it, and it's going to create it into a Google Doc. So this is actually an editable Google Doc. Now, if I don't have those settings on, so go to the gear, go to settings, I'm going to turn convert uploads off. What it does is when I drop that Word document in there, it's going to keep it a Word document for me. See that? And that's how you tell the difference. That's a doc. It's blue with the 3 lines. Word will have a W. It's blue, still blue, but it's W. And then when I open it, it looks like a PDF document. And so I can go in, I can look at it, and I can actually make comments on there from that. Okay, so that's just a fun tip. Oh, I'll show you one more tip. This is Google Docs, so this will count. So let's say you do this. Say I do File, download as a PDF. Okay, so I download a PDF. You guys know PDFs. You all have PDFs. It's like stuff you can't edit. So anytime you want to show your class something off a PDF, you got to print it. Then you tape the paper over it, or you put the Post-it over it. Anybody in the chat, tell me if you've ever been guilty of putting a Post-it over something on a paper and then running copies, because I know I have. So tell me in the chat if you've done that. So I've got the PDF, and I'm going to drop it into my Google Drive. Watch what you can do. Google added this feature to where you can take a PDF. I can write, like this is straight up uneditable document. Let's say I need to edit it. You can right click, open with Google Docs. What it does is it takes that PDF and it reads the entire document and it creates an editable doc for you. Oh my goodness. If you guys have heard of this, tell me yes or no if you've heard of this in the chat. Have you guys heard of you can take a PDF and convert it into a doc? And I'll tell you this, look, it did almost perfect for this. Some, if it's got like a lot of photos or like tables or something, it'll get a little sketchy. But for the most part, it works really well. It's way better than retyping the entire document. I'll tell you that right now, okay? So Lori said, yeah, college wants it all in Word. Yes, you are correct. And I'm making an effort to try to change these professors' minds, but I'll tell you this, I'm still not going to download Microsoft Office. So you're going to have to deal with whatever I send. So we'll see how it is. Julie asked, I'm going to toss this question up. Julie asked, do you know how well PowerPoint transfers to slides? Okay, so Word is pretty good transferring to docs. Excel is almost perfect going to sheets because it's like all contained in cells. With PowerPoint, when you drop a PowerPoint into there, it will put all the information in there. Here's where it messes up. So PowerPoint, Microsoft, and Google owns Docs. So Microsoft and Google own the rights to different fonts. Okay. So whenever you take a PowerPoint, you upload it into Google Docs and they're trying to convert it into a slide, they are trying to convert that text into a font that they have the rights to because they don't want to get sued by Microsoft. And we all know Microsoft probably wants to sue Google. Okay. So they're trying to convert all those fonts over to something they have proprietary rights to. And so some of your sizing will be off, but it will all be there. So when you go from PowerPoint to slides, the first time you go through, you will maybe have to change some sizing because some fonts are bigger than others. And so keep that in mind. All right, keep that in mind. It is still a really, really dope feature to save you a ton of time. So I definitely need to change my settings back because I don't want to forget and go to upload. So settings, if you don't have this turned on, you should turn it on. And you can convert every file. You can drag the whole folder and convert every file you have into doc sheets and slides if you turn that on. So I've got a video on that as well. We saved as a Word. Share. Let's talk about sharing. Okay, let's go through this. Up in the upper right, that little lock means that it's only for me. It's locked down to me. But I can click the blue share. And I can share this with anybody I want, And this is where I change those settings. So they actually just changed the way this looks, but I could share this with my friend, Leanne. Boom, Leanne's got a copy of this. Notify, what up? And then I can send it to her. Now I can choose her to be editor, viewer, or commenter. Fun fact, and Leanne and I used to do this mess with each other all the time. If you give someone view-only access, that means that you're saying, I don't trust you with my document. You can't edit it. So it's a good way if somebody's really good at Google to mess with them. So that's exactly what I'm going to do to Leanne. Okay, so here we go. We change that over. Go to comments. Okay. Now I saw Mary. You covered. I've done that so many times. Write in stuff, mark it out because you don't want to like redo the whole thing. I don't even know where I put that file, so I'll definitely put paper over the top of a document. Okay, one more feature, and then I want to show you the last thing. All right. So, have you guys ever been collaborating in a doc and then you make a change and you need someone else to see that? You need someone else to go change something or update something. Watch this. When you're in the document, we all know about comments. So you can highlight and then you look to the right and there's a place to comment. So you can just go change to hi, and I hit comment. Okay, so that tosses comments over. Great way to communicate. Now, if I need someone to actually see that, I can go to robot. I can do this. If I need someone to see that, do you guys know, how do you tag people on Instagram? You start with the @ symbol. If you do the @ symbol, it's going to pull up your contacts and you can actually tag, I'm going to tag Leanne again, are robots real? And I can actually assign this to her. What it's going to do is it's going to email her. So she will actually get notified. It'll email her, it'll have a link to the doc, and it'll say what I changed. She can actually respond in the email. She never has to go to the doc. So if I'm asking a question to somebody, a coworker or a boss, I can leave that comment, hit assign, and it will notify them. And then they can communicate back and forth. Whenever I was a director of curriculum instruction at Bauxite, what we would do is we would send out the PD, like, here are your PD requests, and they'd fill it out and it would automate and send me a Google Sheet, or yeah, it was a sheet. And so what it would do is I would go in and check their stuff to make sure they're good, and I would tag them on it. So I could actually have the conversation from their doc before I ever approved what they were doing. So it's going to ask if I want to share it with them. Yes, I want to give them comment access because I'd only given review access before. Another cool setting, watch this. In the upper right, I'm right now in editing mode, but I can click on this. Let me zoom in. See this? You can click this, and you can actually change that to editing or suggesting mode. Suggesting mode is incredible, especially if you're proofreading something for someone, or if, like, say you have, like, let's say you have your school's handbook and you're on the handbook committee, and your boss can share the whole handbook and then just change it to, wow, I am super, like the sun is entering the chat. Am I right, guys? And so whenever you're in there, you can actually make the changes. I can delete document. It's not going to actually delete it. It's going to make it as a recommendation. So I can change document. I can say talk forever. I can do, instead of point, I can do line or plane. That's a math joke. And so then whenever people are making those suggestions, I don't have to go in and go, oh, look at that, man, that is so bright. And I can go into the comments and just be like, oh, I need to go in and change it. And you're having to go change it. All the person has to do is click yes, the check mark for yes, and it'll make the change automatically, or X, it won't make the change. So boom. And so it makes it super easy. So this is a great way. If you have a handbook for the school, the principal can just share it with the people on the handbook committee, and they can go through and make the changes as suggestions. And then all they're doing is clicking check or X. I used to do this with my handbook when I was a principal. I would have the handbook, and throughout the year, instead of like putting a Post-it inside of the handbook, I would go in and make suggestions. And then at the end of the year, I would show that to the handbook committee, and then we just click check or X, and it was just way easier. So that's pretty much it, because I have to go to a meeting now. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm sorry that it looks like I'm on the surface of the sun. Look, I'm just gonna do this. Hey guys, what's up? Tyler here.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. Hey, it's Tyler here. I'm just gonna give you a little break. So if you need to go do something, you need to go use the restroom, get a snack, get something to eat, whatever, you can go do that. I was gonna chat with you about some stuff, give you some time to do that and check in, maybe say hi. If you want in the chat, let's do a little check-in. In the chat, how you feeling? Toss in your emoji of how you feeling right now. Let's do a little emoji checkup, if you will. So while you're doing that, I do want to give, you know what? I spent a lot of time writing this book, and I genuinely think this book is going to help you in your classroom. It's gonna inspire you more than anything. It's a read with me, and one of the things that I feel like I've never been the smartest dude in the room. I've never been, the most talented, but I'll say this, I was always been pretty approachable, I think. I've been approachable, and I think what this is, I've tried to be as relatable as possible. I'm talking about my experiences, things I've run into in the classroom, what I've learned as a teacher and as an administrator and as a student, what I learned. And so this is the Baller Teacher Playbook. If you're interested in checking this out, I recommend, of course I recommend, it's my book. It's not the best book on education, but I think it's good enough to help you in some way. It's got a lot of practical experience in it. I've got quotes. That's a do you boo-boo. I could have picked a better chapter. Here's one thing. I want to show you one thing that I did at the end of each chapter, because I know teachers. Okay, I put in practical application, I put in reflection, because we know reflection is important, even though we never have time to do it, but it's got spots for you to write that in, so this is something you can work on by yourself or with your team. But here's the part that I did, and this is legit just for teachers. I don't know if you can see that. I put in, at the end of each chapter, I have a section called TLDR. That's internet talk for too long, didn't read. So what that means is, let's say you've got a team meeting, okay? Because there's 18 chapters in here. That means you and your team, or you and your building, you can go through a chapter once a week. You meet on your planning period, spend 10 minutes talking about what you did, what you tried, what worked, what didn't work, stuff to help improve your class and improve your students. Every week you can do that. Have you ever done this? In the chat, be honest, you ready? Have you ever had a team meeting where you're supposed to read something and you're walking over to the meeting and you're like, oh no, I forgot to read the thing I'm supposed to read that we're gonna discuss for like 15 minutes. So you just try to chill and hopefully don't get called on or get called out for not reading it. At the end of each chapter, I have a section called TLDR where in 2 to 5 bullet points, I summarize the chapter. So you could be walking to the meeting, you could read these 3 or 4 bullet points and be able to have a conversation about the entire chapter. There's stories in here, there's practical experience, there's ways that I messed up, ways that I failed, and then ways that I feel like I succeeded, and I'm just talking through what I learned from both of those. And I would love for you to learn and grow with me. So if you want to check out that book, it's on Amazon. I'll have a link on the screen if you want to get it. Link is in my bio. I link links everywhere to it. So Baller Teacher Playbook. I think it can help you in your classroom. Okay, we're about to get started. Kick back into it. Hopefully you're ready to roll, ready to go. And let's jump back in. Let's jump back in like Michael Phelps, okay? Well, does that work? Does that work? I mean, he jumps into the pool. That's what I was going for. I need to know more like high diver. High divers would have been better. I'll tell you this, we're gonna stick the landing like Carrie Strug. Y'all remember her? Carrie Strug, remember the Olympics? Georgia Olympics? Atlanta Olympics? Remember that? It's okay. It's a very narrow reference. All right, let's get started. Let's kick it off. Let's jump back in. Get your notes out. Get your screens pulled up. Get your coffee ready. Get your ice water, your sweet tea. If you're from Arkansas like me, you know you like that sweet tea. And we're about to kick it off. Here we go. Let's get back in it. Let's get back in it. I'll see you guys. All right, so those are kind of some of my thoughts, my quick looks at things that I use, ways I use docs outside of the norm, outside of just writing papers. And hopefully you learned something there. Next up, I've got Dr. Alexander, one of my good friends I met through Google Innovator, and she was one of the mentors there. And I am looking forward to you hearing her thoughts on some Google Docs for education. I don't know why I'm talking like this, so I'm going to stop talking like this. I'm going to let Dr. Alexander take over.
Hi, everyone. It's Dr. Desiree Alexander. I am the founder, CEO of Educator Alexander Consulting, and I'm the regional director of North Louisiana for the Associated Professional Educators of Louisiana. And that's an educational nonprofit. I am happy to share one quick skill with you today. Let's get started, and hopefully you learn a lot. The big question that I want to answer in this video is, how do you take something that's tangible? How do you take stories and myths and worksheets and handouts and make them electronic without spending hours and hours and hours retyping? So I knew there had to be a way. So I started doing research. I used to teach ELA, and I used a lot of myths and short stories and books and handouts and tests and all of these things that were just wonderful, diverse resources, but they were all tangible. Well, of course, if we want to start using more electronics and technology in our classroom, if we want to start using Google Classroom and Schoology and Canvas and Microsoft Teams and all of these different Edmodo and all of these different LMSs, and we want that to be the delivery system, that means we're going to have these things in electronic versions. So I started thinking there has to be a better way besides taking a picture of it, because that's all I would think to do is, okay, I have it. I can take a picture of it and just send them the picture to read it on the screen, right? But then when it came to actually doing the assignment, I didn't know what to do. And I didn't know about some of the tools that we have today. So did a little research and came up with OCR. Optical, like your eye, character recognition. So we're going to look at how you can take text and make it electronic without typing it yourself. Let's get started. Now, many different tech tools have OCR. I am thinking of Cami, I'm thinking of Microsoft Lens, I'm thinking of Google Keep. I'm going to show you OCR through Google Drive. So again, a lot of different tools, way more than what I just listed, have OCR, but I'm showing it to you through Google Drive, and you don't need to download anything. So you don't need an extension, you don't need an add-on, it's just part of Google Drive. So I'm going to give you the steps to doing OCR. Number one, the picture has to be JPEG or PNG. So if it's going to be a picture, it has to be JPEG or PNG. It can't be any other file type. So I don't care what the title says it is. The picture file type actually has to be JPEG or PNG. It has also started slightly working with PDFs. Some PDFs work better than others. So we're going to see it with a PDF as well. So that's number one. Number two, you don't have to take the picture yourself. It just has to be a picture. So if you do want to take the picture yourself, of course, you can take it with your phone or wherever you want to, however you want to take the picture, and you'll have it, or you can go and search for an image. Number three, this works well with text. It does not work well with anything that's pictorial. So any pictures, charts, tables, graphs, anything with too many lines on it. I have also seen where, math problems, like a math worksheet that has a bunch of math problems on it, does not work well. So it's really for text. So just keep that in mind. I always say test it out because you never know, it may work. So number four, how do you actually do OCR? So what we're going to do is we're going to bring the picture into our Google Drive, however you want to do that. Whether you want to click new and file upload and upload the file, whether you have the Google Drive app on your phone, whatever and however you want to do that, you need to bring the actual image into your Google Drive. So make sure it's saved in there. Then there's only one step to OCR besides bringing the picture into your Google Drive. And that is you're going to right click on the image, go to Open With, and Google Docs. Right click on the image, Open With, Google Docs. So you may think, okay, well, Desiree, I can double click and go to Open With because that's the same thing. Well, it's actually not going to show up that way. So you do actually have to right click on it. So I want to show you the 3 images I have. I have an image of the Most Dangerous Game Literary Analysis Test. And then these images I took myself. I have an image of some handwritten notes. You can see that some are in cursive, some are in print, some squiggly lines, some, scratch outs, kind of hard to read. So we want to see how Google does with that. And then we have a flyer. And I don't know if this is going to work because you see this big picture behind it. It has some lines. So this is when you just want to test it and see how it works. And I also have my PDF here that we're going to see how that works. So let's get started. Right click, Open With, Google Docs, let that settle. Right click, Open With, Google Docs, let that settle. Right click, Open With, Google Docs, and we're going to do the PDF. Right click, Open With, Google Docs. So you notice what's happening is I still have all of my images in this folder, but now the Google Docs are starting to, of course, self-save. So yay. So this is my first one. It put the picture up here at the top of the doc. If I click this, I can just delete the picture if I don't want it anymore. But when I scroll down, it has typed all of the text for me. So I don't have to retype this handout. Now notice anything pictorial is missing. So the lines are now missing. And I also have to format it. But that's going to take 2 minutes where, retyping this may have taken 10 to 15. So to format it, I can hit Control A on my keyboard just to highlight everything. Then I can put everything in the same font. I can put everything in the same size. Probably want to go ahead and put everything in the same color. It may look a little weird. And so there you go. And now it's just a whole lot of pressing Enter, right? Or editing anything that I want to edit. So I also took this and now, instead of just kind of being set with whatever's on the page, now I can also edit it because these are just words now. So I can edit it. It's just a regular old Google Doc. So I can edit it the way I want to edit it. Next, I have the handwritten notes. So these are my handwritten notes. Of course, I still have to format it. So you see Google Forms, go to Google Drive, go to Google Drive. I think this person started writing question. And that became Questo because she squiggled it out. So there you go. It tried to read underneath. This where it kind of was scratched out. It tried to read it. If I click on it, it's like, do you mean answer? So it tried to do the best that it could with what it had. And then we have the flyer that I wasn't quite sure if it would work. And it worked just fine. It typed everything. So you see where this line was, earn equality and MED. That just kind of became paragraphs. So, you still have everything on here, but it's kind of all together. So it didn't know how to kind of separate it, if that makes sense. So earn equality, MED, and then you have the paragraphs that go underneath each title. So you'll definitely have to format it, but it is all here. So again, if I wanted to click this picture and delete it, I can. So I just wanted to show you that. And then when you get to the PDF, it doesn't, some PDFs look better than others. I will say that mine looks better than a lot of PDFs that I've seen, but always test it out. So now, I can come here and edit this. Of course, I can use the same Control A and make everything the same size and all that, just like we did in the other one. So this is my PDF and it worked pretty well. So that is OCR. If I click here, notice I now have the doc and I have the picture so I can, continue to keep whatever I want to keep and delete whatever I want to delete. Let me give you one quick tip if you're going to use OCR for things like tests, and I may want this to actually be a Google form. Well, there is an add-on. So you have to actually open up a Google Doc. It could be a blank Google Doc, and you will come to add-ons. They have one called Doc to Form. So you can click Get Add-ons, and you can simply search Doc to Form. Usually mine is, kind of at the top, but just in case it's not, you can just search Doc to Form. And when you click on it, it's going to say install. So you can click install. If you don't see install, then your district may have turned off you being able to download add-ons. And that way you'll just have to talk to your Google admin to see if they can release that for you. But the cool thing is once you download it, it's always going to be kind of right here under add-ons. And I can go to create doc from form. And then you have a couple of buttons here. Do you want to collect the usernames? Do you want to ask for name? And do you want to ask for teacher name? So you can decide which one of these you want to use. I'm just going to use all of them so you can see it. And then I can come here and highlight the question. I'm going to leave the number 1 alone, but I can use it if I wanted to. And I'm going to use selected text. So my question is here. I can only do certain question types. I can do short answer, which is text, paragraph, multiple choice, check boxes, and drop down, which is choose from a list. So then I have my answer choices if I want to do something like a multiple choice. And it says to add your answer choices, you want to separate them with semicolons. So I'm going to show you 2 ways that you can kind of quickly do this. So one way is, like they said, separate them using semicolons. So I'm going to just copy this because I want to keep this for later. So if I come here and put those semicolons, I do need to kind of delete all the spaces so it won't mess anything up. So semicolon, delete all the spaces. And I don't want those A, B, C, and D. Like you can keep that if you wanted to. I don't want it. There you go. I think I just messed something up, but oh, I did. I made a whole different answer choice. Let's not do that. And then come here and semicolon, and there you go. So I'm going to take off this in the beginning and make sure I'm going to take off this period. Now you can put the periods there if you want to. I'm just not. So then I can come here and I will have to copy this and paste it here. And then if I want to add another question, I would simply click add question. So I'm going to click create form and just act like, that's all the questions I want to use. And it's going to say success. So success, I'm done. This form is saved in my Google Drive, but of course I want to see it. So because I want to show it to you. So now it named the Google form the same name that the document was named, but it automatically turned on collecting email addresses because I checked that. It gave me a what is your name and who is your teacher because I checked that. If I don't check these, they won't be there. And then here's my awesome question already done for me. Yay! So what I'm going to do is just show you another tip. If I come here and duplicate, that's actually not what I want to do, but that's okay. So I'm going to delete all these answer choices. So if I'm actually just going to add a new question, which is what I wanted to do in the beginning. So if I come here and I have a new question, just another way that you can do this, if you wanted to go ahead and use doc to form just for the questions, it may be easier to just kind of come here and notice I'm just copying all of my answer choices at the same time. And then I can come here and just click on option 1, like I only want to paste one of them. And when I paste, it's going to paste all of them. So that may be a little bit easier for you if you don't want to go the semicolon route. So that's completely up to you. And of course you can, delete the ABCD if you don't want that. But there you go. Just a very quick tip that you can kind of smash some of these tools together. So you can use OCR to do this part and then use doc to form to create that form. And you have the tip of copying and pasting your answer choices instead of using the semicolons. Yay! So this is a side tip for my iPhone users. If you use an iPhone and you use a newer iPhone, and you want to take a picture of, let's say, your handout to use for OCR, then just know that a lot of the newer iPhones have started taking a different file type. That file type is not going to work with OCR. So if you want to make sure that all of the pictures that you take with your phone are actually JPEGs, this is what you need to do. So you're going to come here and click on Settings. You're going to scroll until you see the Music section, and you want to click on Camera. From there, you're going to click on Formats, and then you're going to choose Most Compatible. That way, all of the pictures that you take will be JPEG, and JPEG will work just fine for OCR. And again, this is just for iPhone users and newer iPhone users. So now that you know how to OCR, I leave you with this challenge. What resources do you have that's in paper, that's tangible, that you can now make electronic, that can completely transform the way your students interact with that resource? You may want to make electronic so they can highlight, so they can annotate, so they can make copies of, so they can edit. So think about that. What resources do you have now that are tangible that you can make electronic that can completely transform the learning and the way that that student interacts with that resource? Good luck.
All right, that was awesome. Please make sure you go to Twitter and thank Dr. Alexander for her lovely tips and tutorials and things that she showed you through that training. Now, coming up, we're at part 3 of 3. Okay, we've covered Drive. Boom. We've covered Docs. Ba-dow. And now we're going to roll into Google Sheets. This is like the Microsoft Excel of what Excel actually wanted to be. So let's go ahead and learn a little bit about Google Sheets. Some of the stuff that you might not be using. This is a quick look. This is not an in-depth. We're not diving into the deep end here. We're gonna kind of hang out in the shallow end. We might get on that little ramp into the deep end, but we're not gonna go in and be like, okay, we're gonna learn, these highly complex equations and all this. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna go in. We're gonna learn some stuff that I think you might actually use. Okay, so I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna start talking here in a second about Google Sheets. Go for it, Tyler. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited to talk to you about Google Sheets. Now, here's the deal. Google Sheets is like your Microsoft Excel, just a lot better, okay? If you're using Apple, it's like Numbers is the program they use. Google Sheets I like because it doesn't have all the fluff. Like, it has the fluff if you want it, but honestly, like, they have everything you would want. You just sometimes have to add add-ons. But the thing that makes it unique compared to the other ones is that it's all interconnected. So like a Google form can fill into a Google Sheet. And then Google Sheets can connect to everything. Like, it makes incredible sense for you to utilize Google Sheets as frequently as possible. So let's roll through some examples of how to use Google Sheets. First thing we need to do is we need to build out a list. So I'm in a Google Sheet. You create it in Google Drive just like you would anything else. I'm sorry, I'm going to skip that part. I'm not going to go like, oh, I'm going to show you every single thing you ever need to know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the stuff that I think is helpful or maybe that you don't use or that can make your life easier. Because that's the thing. You don't need a ton of this stuff unless you're like, running taxes for people. If you're a CPA, then cool. Like, that's great. But if not, you don't need to do this. So let's say name, grade, house, and then info. Okay. So let's say I just need some information here. So let's say Harry Potter, grade, he's second year. And then let's say Gryffindor, and then info. Like, I've actually got something pulled up so I can have things. So let's, I know about Harry Potter. I just want it to be a little bit beefier because there's a couple things I want to show you. So I'm going to copy that. Remember, you can copy paste anything into there and it just like overlaps that, which I'm going to show you how to fix that. So let's say Harry, we got, let's do Peter Pettigrew. We'll say he's fourth year. He should have been in Slytherin. One of the few mistakes in the Harry Potter series that J.K. Rowling made was she said that, like, Hagrid always like, no bad witch or wizard ever came from anything but Slytherin. Like, Slytherin has like the only one that ever had bad people in it. But low key, he said that knowing that Sirius Black had turned bad, or thinking that Sirius Black had turned bad, and Sirius Black was in Gryffindor. So it's like, that was just kind of like a plot hole, if you will. Let's see. Let's do like 2 more. Okay. So let's do Albus Dumbledore. So I'm literally just putting in here so we can have some information. Albus Dumbledore, we'll say he's a 6th year. He's in Gryffindor. And then there's this info. And let's do one more. Let's do the greatest character in the whole series. Indubitably, Hermione Granger. She, even as a 1st year, she's better than all them. Let's put her in Ravenclaw where she should have been. Just kidding. And then I just really want to mix it up. And then let me put this right here. Okay, so I copy pasted. This one had a link in it. Let's see if it did the link. Yep, it did the link also. Okay, so here we go. We're going to, I'm going to show you a few tips that I use. These are some things. If you share a Google Sheet with me, I will do the following things. Does not matter who you are. I was on the, I was like part of the group. This sounds super braggy. I'm not trying to be braggy. That's what they called it. I was part of the group that they call the Google Forms expert team, where we get the chance to, look at some stuff in Google Forms and give Google some feedback, because a lot of people that work at Google are like, they're not really educators. They're, 25-year-old programmers, and they've not been in the classroom. So it's us like saying, hey, maybe do this, this, or this to make things better. Now, here's the thing. They shared a Google Sheet with me. I did this to Google in their own Google Sheet. So say that to say it is okay to make Google Sheets look better if you want. So this is what I'm going to do every time you share a Google Sheet with me. Okay. So the first thing that I am going to do is I'm going to freeze important rows. Do you ever have like a long list and you scroll down and you can't see like, hey, what was this column and what was this column? You can't see the names of the columns, okay? There are 2 ways you can go in and what they call freeze this row and this column, okay? So watch this. You can go up to File. Nope, not File. Sorry. View. Freeze. Why am I screaming? View. Freeze. Hey, guys, I'm way chill. Freeze, and then 1 row. So you can do 1 row, 2 rows, or just like make it snap to the row you want to do. So we can do 1 row. So what that does is that sticks that top part right there. Now, here's the deal. Checky this out, okay? Now, I can do the same thing for columns, and I could go here, and I could go to view and all that. This actually, I learned this from TikTok. By the way, I love TikTok. If you don't use TikTok to grow as an educator, you're like, I don't need to know dancing videos. There's a lot more to TikTok than dance videos. I promise you. There's an amazing educator community, and I think that we can learn a lot from each other. And so here is what I learned, because I was showing that thing I just showed you on TikTok, and somebody was like, "Hey, it's a lot easier than that. Why are you being so like difficult by going up here to view, freeze, and all this? Watch what you can do. Look what I can do. What's that? Name in the chat. What's that from? Look what I can do. Anybody know? Okay. So if I wanted to make like freeze a row or a column, right here at this like little box, do you see this box right here? Right here, there's like this darker line. Do you see that? I can just wait till I have a hand over it. I can click it and I can drag it out to freeze it wherever I want. So now I have frozen that column, and it is that easy. I can do the same thing here. I can click and drag that. I can freeze that column. I can freeze whatever I want. Look at this. Look at the magic. Oh my goodness. No wonder we're using Harry Potter examples, because this is magic. As they say on the street, ho, ho, it's magic. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that I have an amazing voice, and it's only because I've never shown anyone through any of my actions that I have a decent singing voice. Because I don't, but I'm still going to sing it every time. So I'm sorry about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to freeze that and freeze the column. And here's why. How many times have you like assigned something in Google Forms and it fills into a Google Sheet? And then whenever you go in there, you're trying to scroll over and see like all the answers to the questions, and you lose it. It's like you scroll over and you're like, oh no, where did it go? So you can go up here and you can freeze these columns and these rows. Okay. That's a row and that's a column. I said it correctly. Okay. Just like in Excel, if you double click on this, it's going to snap it to like be level here. So I can do this. It should tighten this up. Anytime you do that, it's going to tighten it up. So that's similar. A lot of them, like the little tips and tricks and things like here, they're consistent across Excel and Google Sheets. I'm not positive on this, but I'm almost certain that Google hired the person that created Excel and they said, hey, make this better. And they did. Okay. Now, the next thing, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to freeze the row and the column if you share this with me. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this row right here and I'm going to select that. I'm going to click on the number on the left. You click on these numbers, you can, oh no, that's not what I want to do. Get out of here. Oh my goodness. Oh no, Mayday. Okay. I'm going to click on the number so it selects the whole row. Then what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to say this is bold. If I could be so bold, I'm going to do that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make this a different color. I like to delineate my header from the rest. I just like for that to pop out a little bit. I like the colors. It's pleasing to my eyes. Blue and yellow are safe bets if you want to do that. So I highly recommend making that blue and yellow. Black, it's like black and yellow, black and yellow. Remember that? Nope. Okay. So now the reason I copy pasted all this info in here is because I wanted to show you this next thing I'm about to show you. So what you can do, I can click up here in this little, see the blank spot between like the A1 steak sauce. So there's a little blank spot. You can hit right there and it selects everything. Okay. If you do that, that allows you to go in and you can change your font. Like I'm a big fan of Montserrat. I can't say it correctly. I like it. I can do all these things. Now, here's the next thing. If you'll notice here, like see this, where I copy pasted this information in here, it like ran over this column. Like that's ridiculous. Like that's just rude. Like these columns didn't ask for that type of treatment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this column and I want to show you something up here that you can use that I think is super helpful. I don't see it because it looks like we've run out of room in the toolbar. So I'm going to click this slender snowman taking a nap. I'm going to click on that. And then I'm going to go to this right here. That is my text wrapping option. What this does is this option, let me see. This option right here, this allows you to choose how your text fits within a cell, okay? So by selecting that column, it's going to apply this to every cell in that column, okay? So my first option is if I wanted to, I can make it to where it just runs over the columns to the right, okay? That's what's already happening. Now, the next thing I can do is I can clip it. I do this one a lot, mainly because I don't like, I like for my rows to all be the same height, and I don't really need to read all that information right there. I'll click on it and I can read it, so I'll just do this. See what it does? So it chops it off. Now, you're thinking, oh no, Tyler, it deleted everything. No, it did not delete everything because when you double click on it, you get all your information back, okay? So that one is clipped. That one's a good one. A lot of times I'll click this and I'll just apply that to all of it. Boom, see this? So now every single cell, it stays clean. All of these are equidistant, if you will, on all of these rows. Now, another option you could do, under that same little guy right here, you can click that, and this one's a game changer. I legitimately, when I was a principal, I was like, this is super annoying. I can't read all of it or it runs over. It was just super annoying. So I had to Google this and I found this and I was like, oh, I mean, I should have known this. I was getting used to Google. So sorry. Give me time to learn. This is the wrap feature. What this is going to do, it is now going to wrap that text inside of that cell, which means it'll create new lines. Now, look, I had a pretty tight column right here. So look how like, that's ridiculous. That looks disgusting. But if I expand this out, it's going to come down and it's going to be a little more manageable. So I can do this right here. See, there we go. Now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. So now I can read everything inside of that cell because I have done the wrap feature. I'll do it again. Click on the column, click that ant with no legs. I'm going to click text wrapping and I'm going to wrap that. Okay. You know, I could wrap it. Still same old G. I've just been low key, hated on by most of you people with no cars and no keys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that. Now, that's another tip, another hack. Again, a lot of times I just do clip because I don't need to read the whole thing. I want all of it's more important for me to have my rows all the same. All right. Now, here's another thing. Do you ever like scroll over and you get lost in this like sea of blank cells? Okay. It's like, what is this? Dragon Ball Z. And this is Android 18 and 19 creating too many cells. That joke is for a very narrow audience. If you understand that reference, please tell me in the chat. I would appreciate it. So here's the deal. I don't like all this extra space. I think it's wasted space. And here's one of the things I love that Google Sheets does. Okay, so stay with me here. I'm going to try to walk you through this. If you've got a screen pulled up and you're doing this with me, awesome. If not, totes cool. Totes get it. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this column right here. I'm going to click on that column right there. This column is a column that I'm not utilizing. Okay. It's a blank column. I want to get rid of it. So I'm going to select that column and then I'm going to let go. Then I'm going to scroll all the way to the right and I'm going to hold the shift button. So I'm not touching anything. I selected the one column. I'm going to hold shift and then I'm going to select this last column. When you do that, when you select something, let go, hold shift and select the next thing, it highlights everything in between there. Okay. So I've highlighted all of this. So if I scroll over, I'm not holding anything. I'm just scrolling over. I have highlighted every column to the right of my information. Now I can go up and hover over one of those columns and I can right click on it. Then I'm going to be able to hit delete columns. Okay. Boom. Watch this. Easy. Now I cannot scroll to the right because I've deleted all of those unnecessary columns. You could do the same thing as you scroll down. So like say I want to leave like a few of them for options and then I'm going to scroll all the way down. By the way, they go down to like 1,000 as the default, which is absolute insanity. Google, I don't understand that. Like stop at 200. So I'm going to hold shift, select, and then I'm going to delete these rows. Now look what I've done. I have tightened up this information to where I can now utilize, I'm not wasting all that space. I'm not worried about scrolling off into the abyss. I have that space and I've gotten it back. Okay. So there you go. That is the basics of what I do. If you share a Google Sheet with me, I will do those things. I don't care who you are. I don't care your level of, I don't care about your level of, I don't know, what expertise. I don't care who you are in this world. If you share a Google Sheet with me and I have editing capabilities, I will do those things that I just did. Okay. That's just fair warning. That's Tyler's fair warning. You cannot get mad at me. I'm going to straighten that up. There we go. So now we've done this. Awesome. Okay. So let me show you a couple more things within Google Sheets that I think are super helpful. Now, one thing you can do is you can get quick graphs and charts. So if I select this column right here and I want to get a quick graph of like this information, I can go down to the bottom right. There's this explore option. I can click on that and what it's going to do, it is going to gather data automatically for me. Now, I don't do this a ton. I don't play with this. Most of these charts and graphs and things that I get is what I get automatically through a Google form whenever I create a Google form. Okay. Oh, it went away. Come back, little buddy. There we go. So I can go here and look what it's done. It's built this for me. It built this bar graph with 2 Gryffindor, 1 Slytherin, 1 Ravenclaw. It's done this, count of the house. So if you're, think of it this way. If you say you assign something in Google Forms and it fills into a Google Sheet, okay? Yes, you're going to get that information automatically. And these little charts show up automatically in Google Forms. But if you wanted it to look different than that chart, you could come over here into Google Sheets and you could just select that column and it's going to pull that automatically for you. So I could go up here, I could do this, and watch what I can do. I can click this. And I can add this. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm going to scroll over here, hit that, and it's going to insert that chart into my information. Now, I just got done making this super unmanageable because I got rid of all that stuff. But if I had more room, this would be a great spot. Count of house. Okay, this looks super ugly now, but it's an option. I'm going to delete it because now I don't like the way that looks. But that's an option to throw in those graphs, anything like that. Oh, Dina had a great question. How do you add a column or a row back if you delete them? So fantastic question. It's a lot easier to add in new rows than it is new columns. So let me show you how that happens. So let's start with the column. What you would do is you would click on like the top part, click up here, and I'm going to right click on this column. Then I'm going to go down to insert one left or one right. That's going to add in a new column. So this, see what it did? And what it does is it duplicates the column that you select. So it made that one really large because I just did that on a really large one. Watch, if I did this one, it's going to make a smaller one. Insert one to the right. It's going to do a smaller one. So it duplicates the dimensions of the column that you just duplicated. Now, like we deleted all those, all those rows. It's a lot easier to add in rows. I could just say, pick the number I want to add. Say I want to add 10 rows. I could hit add. Boom. It just added 10 rows for me. So it's a way easier to add new rows as opposed to new columns. Great question, Dina, and I highly appreciate you asking me that. Okay. And it actually worked out because let's say I wanted to do overall grade, and I'm legitimately going to give them their grade based on what I think they would actually make in the class. So let's say it's over out of 100. Harry's going to pull in like an 84 at best, just raw talent. He doesn't study enough. We know that. Peter Pettigrew, he's like a 61%. He's eking by. Get it? Eek, because he's a mouse. Nope. Okay, whatever. I'm doing my best here. Then Albus, he's going to be like 97. And then Hermione, I'm going to say she's a 99. I'm just going to say it because Albus is distracted. Okay, he's distracted. He's doing so much. Okay, now I want to show you a couple of the quick formula things that you can do. Okay, so I can select this column. And from here, this gives you some of your numerical stuff. So right here, I could turn it into money. Now it turned into $84, $61, $97, and $99. And I can toggle that if I want to. So I'm going to just hit undo because I don't want it to be money. Go away. There it is. Now I can make it percents. So what it's going to do is it's going to turn into a percent, which I had it at 84. If I had it at 0.84, it would have made it 84%. So there you go. I don't want to do that either. So this is another one with decimal. You can move your decimal places over. So let's say you wanted to add in some decimal places. You just click this and it just shifts those decimals over. So that's a good one. This would be great for math classes, anything like that. It's going to be able to show you that. If say you're running accounts and people are paying something or you're doing averages, you don't really want to go past two decimal places if it's a monetary amount. And so that allows us to shift our decimal places to an appropriate number. Okay, sweet. Next, let's do this. Let's say I want to find out let me do this. I'm going to add this right here. So I'm going to go one left and I'm going to add in their ages. Okay, age, Harry's 17, Peter is 41, Albus is, I think he was like 176 years old, which is absolutely doesn't fit the timeline at all. Hermione, we'll make her, I think she's a little bit older. We'll make her 18. Okay. So there you go. So we've got age and overall grade. So let's say I want to add up their total age. Okay. So I could just select this top one, select the top cell, hold the shift button like we did earlier. I'm sorry, I clicked it. Hold shift and select the bottom one. Now I've just selected all of that. Okay. And now I want to get the sum of those numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go over here to the ant with no legs. I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to go down to this weird E. I used to teach math. I should know what this is called. In the chat, if you remember what this is called, say it. Don't spray it. I'm just kidding. I don't know why I said that. You could click this, and it's going to give you some of your basic ones. Now, there's a ton more options in this. But you would have to Google it. Just Google Google Sheets, formula words or something like that. It would tell you. But the basics are on here. So I want to find the sum of those ages. I could hit enter. Boom. It's going to add it up. So I could do this. I could say, total years. And then I can highlight this right here. So I'm going to go up here to my paint. And I'm going to highlight total years. So they have 252 years total between these four. Now I'm going to say Albus is probably carrying the brunt of the age, but that's our ages that we have. Now, let's say I wanted to find the average years. Now, what would be the problem if I'm wanting to be like, hey, I want to add up all these and do the same thing I just did? The problem is it's going to add in the 252, okay? I don't want sigma. Is that it? Is that what that E is called? Is a sigma? Thomas said that. I don't know if it's true or not, but Thomas, I trust you. You said a question mark though, so I'm kind of losing faith, but you know what? I'll follow you to the ends of the earth. Here we go. So let's say I want to find the average of these four right here. However, I don't want it to go right here like it did automatically earlier. So instead of selecting like the parts of the problem and then hitting enter for the answer, I'm going to select where the answer goes. And then I'm going to go back and select the number. So watch this. I've just selected where I want my answer to go. I'm going to go up to the sigma, which Thomas has confirmed is what it's called. I'm going to click on that, and I want to go to average. So I'm going to click on average. Excellent. Okay, so there it is. Now, what Google Sheets is doing is it's waiting on us to go in and select what we want to find the average of. So now, again, I'm not holding anything. I'm going to click the top one, and look how it filled it in. Do you see how it filled in average of C2? Because I selected cell C2. I'm going to go down here. I'm not touching anything. I'm going to hold shift, hit this. It's going to say C2 all the way to C5, which is what I selected. And I'm going to hit enter. Boom. The average age is 63. And that's how you can do that. Now, it's pretty adaptive. So like, let's say I go here and I want to insert a row above, insert one above. And I want to add, Ron Weasley. Anybody know what that's from? The way I said that? I know it's from Harry Potter, but does anybody know what it's from? Let's say he is 18 as well. And then he definitely should have been in Hufflepuff. Let's just be real. Okay. So overall grade is a 77. Okay. Now, did you notice this? Whenever I hit that number, goodness, I went too fast. Sorry. Watch this. Do you see the 252? Watch what happens when I hit 18. It went up 18. It changed the average in the years. Even when as long as you're inserting those rows and columns in between your range, the range will expand. And so it'll change based on like what the top and the bottom are. So if you insert in, it's going to expand that range. Now, if you added it on to the end of it, it's not going to include it. So whenever you include those, make sure you put that in the middle of what you're doing. Okay. In the middle of what you're doing. So excellent. Excellent. Cool. Trying to think if there's anything else on here. Oh, they did add this feature. Nope. I'm going to wait and show you this whenever I show you a resource. So I'm not going to show you this feature. It's going to be on the resource portion. So we're going to go in. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. You can click this little blank A1 spot, and then you can choose like, hey, I want everything to be aligned to the left, or I want it all be centered. You can choose what all you want that to be. You can push it up, down, or in the middle. Let's do in the middle. You have plenty of options. You can rotate your text. This whole toolbar is very similar to the toolbars that I covered in the Google Slides tutorials. So one of the things that I use this for is you can do the similar thing that you do with Docs, where you can right click and you can add a comment. So you can insert comment, and I can tag people in this. I can tag, sorry, my dog. So I can tag my friend Leanne, who hates this. You're not super encouraging. Okay. I'm going to tag her, which, that's absolutely true. I'm going to hit assign. There we go. That is going to email her a link to this Google Sheet and give her the ability to go in and adjust it. Now, look right here. I don't know if you can see this. I can't zoom in, but look in the upper right-hand corner of this right here. It is going to have this like little yellow label on there. It's a little yellow bookmark in that corner. That means there is a comment or a note there. Sometimes I just do a note. So like if I'm making a sheet and I need to remember some information, I could go here and I could right click, and I don't want to make a comment necessarily. I want to insert a note, which is really just for me. So I could list, 4 houses. I could say, Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Slytherin, and Ravenclaw. Okay. So that would be a note for me. it still does the little like thing in the upper right-hand corner, but if I hover over it, I can go and use it as a reference point. A lot of times this is super convenient if there's like a note about some student that you need to know, like if somebody maybe a student has like IEP, like they have modifications, you can just put their modifications here above their name, and as long as you're the only person that has access to that, then you can go in and see their stuff really quickly. I'm sorry, my dog is in my office and she's like, hey, can you chill? Can you chill? You're embarrassing me in front of my friends. I'm sorry. My dog's name is Queso. Queso, you good? You're good. She wants to go out and play. So excellent. So I want to show you a resource that I have that I think could be helpful to you. And it gives an idea of how you can use Google Sheets to be more collaborative with your colleagues, and also just even be more organized with what you're already doing. So we're going to go to tarveracademy.com/resources, and I'm going to put that on the screen so you can see it. What I'm going to do, this resource is going to be this is a curriculum map, lesson plan, whatever you want to call it. I call it a curriculum map because you're essentially mapping out your whole year. Let me put my website up there so people that are bouncing in while I'm talking, like they'll know what I'm talking about. So let me edit this real quick. Resources. Oh, that's not how you spell resources. A little S snuck in there. Resources. Resources. If I don't spell this right, y'all tell me right, okay? Y'all tell me right. That's not a phrase. Okay. My goodness. It's like I've literally forgot how to spell resources. Sorry. I tried to be like, have you ever tried to like edit a word in the middle of it? And it's like your whole brain shuts down that's actually a word. Is this correct? tarveracademy.com/resource. Excellent. So that's how you get to this free template. Oh, okay. Sorry. Learn how to spell resources, Tyler. So what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down and we're going to go to curriculum map template. Okay. So curriculum map template. You're going to click on this. And what it's going to do is it's going to request that you make a copy of that resource. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, Tyler, I wish I knew how to automatically make a copy of it. Let me show you. In the address bar, you see this address bar? Somewhere near the end is going to be the word edit. Do y'all see it? It's right here, edit. So I'm going to highlight from the E to the end of the address, and I'm going to delete it. And I'm going to write the word copy. Now I'm going to select that link. Now, when I use that link where I've replaced edit and everything to the right with copy, now when I share that link with somebody, it's going to force them to make a copy of it. So this curriculum map, say you build an amazing curriculum map throughout the year, and then you get a new teacher and they're like, oh, how can I have that curriculum map? And you don't really want to give them access to it because they might mess it up. Okay, let's be real. They probably will mess it up. Not because they're not good. It's because they're kind of careless with the Googles. And so what you can do is you can give them this link to where it forces them to make a copy. And now they'll have all of the information, all of the links, but it'll be theirs. You don't have access to it. They can't mess with your original. They now can make their own copy in there. Okay, so I'm going to get out of there. So I'm making a copy of that semester map template that I just clicked on tarveracademy.com/resources. I'm going to click make a copy, and now it's going to generate a copy of this. Okay. What this is this is a map you can use you could use it to plan ahead. That's not how I would use it. I recommend just record what you're already doing in your classes. This is one that I incorporated whenever I became director of curriculum instruction. I switched our teachers to do this. And the idea is that if they're on a third grade team, they can share this with all the third grade teachers and they can all be adding in stuff as they do it. They don't have to use everything on the list, but they have the option and the resources so they're not starting from scratch. Super helpful, I think, for teachers that are brand new into that field. Either if a teacher's leaving, they can make a copy and give it to the new teacher, or they could share and then they could collaborate. Because I think once we share and collaborate, we all get better. Okay, it's like John Milton said, no man is an island. Okay, let me make this a little smaller so you guys can see the whole page. Okay, so here's the idea, is that you would use this, and at the end of the day, you would go in and you would record what you just did. So let's say my course is geometry. Oh, that's a nice one. Geometry. Y'all think I can't spell. Let's say it's week 1, because here at the bottom I have all the tabs that I've created. So I think I've got it up to 36 weeks. So that's a full year, I would assume. Grades, let's say 9th and 10th. Okay. So school lesson plan, I changed that to Mr. Tarver's lesson plan. Oh, actually, nope. That's why I got to put my name on it. Why is it all going to be Tarver Academy this and Tarver Academy that? Could just be geometry lesson plan. Okay. So we'd go in and we'd find the objectives. So the objective, let's say the objective today is to, learn the slope formula and slope intercept formula. That's our goal for the day. All right. Then we would go and put the standards. And I'll be honest with you guys, if I'm just telling you like a little user hack, what I would do is I would go into Google. I would type this. I would say Arkansas, because I'm in Arkansas. You put your state. Arkansas State Standards. I could go in. I could click this. It's grade 8. That's not right. Actually, here it is. Boom. I could click on this, and then I could just go copy paste the stuff. Like, let's pretend this was it. I don't think that's it, but actually I think you can search. Command F lets you search. Yes. Okay. So let's do slope. So if you're in Chrome and you hit Command F, it'll automatically search that page. So we can just do, let's say it was these two. I select them, copy, X out of this. I can double click in here, paste. So I've got my standards. Just that easy, man. That used to be the thing that would like annoy me the most, is trying to go in and find those because I didn't know them. But really, it's just about knowing what document to like Command F and search through. Which a Mac is Command F. If you're on a Chromebook or a PC, it's probably Control F. Okay. Materials and resources. This is where I would link to what I'm using for this class. So let's say I was using, presentation. Sorry, I'm going to click in there, presentation. Now, this is something they've added. Used to, one of the things that annoyed me about this is that you couldn't actually, you could always do this, but you couldn't do the second thing I'm going to show you. So if you want to go, like if I hit enter or return, it's going to go to the next cell. I don't want to do that. I want to do it all in this one cell. These are all my resources. I can hold on a Mac, it's command. On a Chromebook or a PC, it's probably control. So I command, and then I'm going to hit return. It's going to stay inside that cell, but it's going to go to a new line. So presentation, video 1. Oh, I hit return, not command return. And then I could do video 2. And then I could do, example problem video. Okay. Now you're thinking that's great, but you didn't link to anything. This is what I would do. I would roll up into my presentation, which let's just pretend that, let's pretend I have I don't have a slope presentation, but I could search presentations. Let's say I had one for slope. Cool. What I love about it being in the slides, I'm about to switch you guys over to just see my screen so you can see all of it. How about this? Look at this. Bam. Get out of here, Tyler. Let's try to make this a little bit bigger so that you can see all of it. That's so much better. Look at that. That's actually not that much better. This is actually a ruse because my battery on my camera was going dead and I needed to swap it out. And so I don't want to lie to you guys. I'm not ever going to lie to you. Oh, wow. Tyler doesn't know how to find anything in his bag. There it is. Don't worry. Battery coming in. And take this moment in the chat. Let me know how do you do lesson plans at your school? Okay. Thomas had a question, said, when making the template, you could make a sheet of the standards, then do a drop-down list. Then your teachers can only choose from the list. That is a phenomenal idea, Thomas. And I'm going to show them how to do that as we go. So let's say, I'm sorry, this is a bunch of, because I'm doing here we go. We're going to take this. Let's say this was my slope presentation. I can right click on it and I can say get link. And then I'm going to copy the link. Now this one's restricted. Now, if you're sharing this with your group, that means they're not going to have access to it. So I'm going to say you can do it with your, like I'm on my Tarver Academy account. You could do it with your school account. I'm going to do anyone with the link that just makes it easier, to be honest with you. And people can't just get the link. Okay, you have to give it to them. This makes it easier for you and anybody else. So now I'm going to click back in here. I want to highlight that word. I'm going to do Command K because I'm on a Mac. You can do Control K. Now look, here's the cool thing. I didn't do this. Man, I should have done this. Paste, hit apply. Now I went and searched it. I could have just searched within my own drive directly from doing this. So watch this. When you do the link thing, now the link's up here under the little chain link, or I can do Command K, or you could do Control K. I can actually search the internet. So if I say I want to do slope, formula, Tyler, Tarver, it's going to search the internet because Google is like the best search engine on the planet. And I can find it straight from YouTube. And there it is. Apply. Oh, wow. I just linked everything. Why did it link everything? I genuinely don't know, but it did the right video. I think I messed up. Let me try it again. So I'm going to take this, Command K. I'm going to say Tyler, Tarver, slope. I'm going to select this. I'm going to hit apply. Let's see if it messes up. Nope, did it right that time. Okay, so what you can do is you can go put links to every single one of your resources directly in there. So that's super helpful. In class strategy / instruction, we could say that shared a blank Google slide with the students, and they filled it in, then presented the lesson. That's actually one of my favorite strategies for teaching. And then you could actually link to the Google slide. So like I could select this, I could do Command K. I could say, Google slide. I don't know why I searched Google slide, but I could do there. Hit apply. Boom. I put the link directly in there. And then I could do resources. This is material. I don't know why I put resources twice. I'm going to delete that. That's ridiculous. What was I thinking? All right, reflection. Now, here's the thing. Most people, they're going to bypass reflection because it's like we don't have time. We don't have a lot of time. I recommend one sentence or less. Lesson ran a little long. Need to trim some time. You are literally, this is one of the most important things you fill out, because what you're doing is you're writing a note to yourself 364 days from now for whenever you're reviewing this and you're about to give this presentation, this video, and all this stuff. And you could go in and be like, hey, this ran a little long. I need to correct it. I need to extend it, or I need to trim stuff out of it. So be very careful to not bypass the reflection portion, because what you're doing is you're giving yourself a co-teacher, which is you from the past. And you're the best teacher. So why would you not want to be your own co-teacher? Now, last thing I want to show you before I want to show the thing that Thomas mentioned is one of the other ways that I highlight and reflect is at the end of the day, I like to use color to indicate what went well and what did not go well. That way I can quickly notice what I need to change next year. So let's say my materials and resources, they were really good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select that cell. I'm gonna hit the paint bucket, and I'm gonna make it this light green. Green, whenever I do my color coding, green is good. Thumbs up, green is good. Let's say, lesson ran a little long, need to trim some time. That's not a terrible reflection. It means the lesson went okay. So I'm gonna do color bucket, and I'm gonna make it yellow. Green is good, yellow is, it's okay. Then if say this, which this has never gone bad for me. It's a great in-class instructional strategy. But let's say it went terrible. Say it was not good. It was not effective. They did not learn from that. Then I'm going to use the paint bucket. I'm going to make it red. Now, as you color code, and you don't have to color code every box, but say you want to say this is good, this is bad, this is just okay. So next year when I see this, I'm going to say, oh, this is red. This is what I did last year, but it didn't work. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to change what I did for that section. So there you go. That's what I recommend, and that's what I think you should do. Color coding, super simple color coding system. Now, I'm going to throw this on here. Look at what Thomas said. This is fantastic. Thomas said, when making the template, you could make a sheet of the standards, then do a drop-down list. Then your teachers can only choose from that list. I was working with another educator. She was up north, and she saw this, liked it, and made it so much better. And that's my hope with all my resources, is that you take it and make it applicable to you and your school and your class, and then make it better. And this is a fantastic idea. So what you can do, and I never do this, so I know I'm going to mess this up. But let's say I want to select this. I'm going to right click and I want to do, I think is it data validation? I think it's data validation. And then the criteria, we want to list of items. Okay, so what you can do is you can put in whatever it is you want to put on there and you can separate them with the comma. Okay, so I can put, let's say I take, let me see if I can pull this one back up. Let's pull the state standards back up because we love our state standards. I can go in and I can copy these, copy all the state standards, and then I can put them in here. And now I'm going to just go in, I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to separate them with a comma. So I'm just going to go in here, separate with a comma. See, this is not like a long process. And I just grabbed I could have grabbed every single state standard. I just grabbed a few that were at the top. Okay. Almost done. It's probably an easy way to do this, but this is how I would do it. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Okay. I'm going to hit save. Now, if we did it right, okay. So look, this cell is blank. This right here is a drop down. If I click this drop down, I now have the option to do this. Oh no, it looks like it did it by rows. I think I might have should have just done rows. When I pasted it, it did this. So let me go in and fix that. Okay, so I'm going to go in. Actually, I'm not going to fix it because I don't want to waste your time. But when you do that, you need to make those, you need to make them to where they're full sentences. When I pasted it, it kind of chopped the ends of it and therefore did this. Okay, but I could go in and I could select these different options. Okay, now the only issue is it's going to be one standard at a time, but this is super helpful for you to go in and help your teachers. So like what I could do, I could take that one, copy, paste. So now all of those have the same thing. So I can drop down this, go here, drop down this. This is super, super helpful. And this could be for anything. This could be for reflections. It could be for your, I would do for resources. You could choose presentation, video, stuff like that. But you could think of how you could expedite this process and make all of this a lot easier for you as you are, in this. The faster you can make this, but also the most helpful, that's what I would go for. So take this resource. It's tarveracademy.com/resources if you want to grab this resource. And this has been Google Sales review. Google Sales, that's not what it's called. Google Sheets. Why did I call it? I mean, they are cells. It's like words and then side sentences. That was actually in my first book. Don't read it. It's not very good. Words and sentences. Tyler Tarver. Okay. Thank you guys so much. And we're hopefully going to learn some more in the future, in the very near future, together. The end. Thank you guys. Y'all are incredible. Peace. What up? Welcome back. Hey, Tyler here. How are you doing? How are you feeling? In the chat, let's do emoji check. And how are you feeling right now? Have you learned? Oh, no. To this point, what is something that you are going to try in your classroom or implement that you might not have wanted to, an hour or two ago? What is something you're wanting to implement in your classroom? Put that in the chat right now. I'd love to see it. I know the other people in the chat would love to see it. I know it'd be some great input. So throw that in the chat and then you can also copy paste and put in your notes just so you don't forget. Make sure everything you're doing, you're keeping notes of. Keep links to it, all of it, because I want you guys to be able to access and actually make your classroom better. I've sat through enough PDs in my life, professional development in my life, that I don't remember one thing from. I pray that you walk through this. I am hoping that you get something out of this training that you can take and use, once a day, once a week, once a year, once a decade, something that you use and implement, whether it's a mindset or a skill set or just any type of framework to build your classroom and make things better. Okay? Speaking of making things better, making ourselves better, I do want to give you, some thoughts on something that I offer, a community that we have at Tarver Academy that I think could add you a ton of value. It could help you get better all year. Because right now we're getting better with PD, with professional development. Hopefully you're getting better right now. This summer you're gonna hopefully glean some information, some knowledge, some experience, and you're gonna get a little bit better. I want us to get better all year. I want us to get better all throughout the year. And here's the thing with teachers. We do not have time to go sit through a 6-hour professional development once a week. So what I did was I created a community called Tarver Academy. And it was based on teachers telling me they wanted resources. They wanted a continuation of these trainings, of templates, of resources. They want it to be handed to them, because if you go out and search for it, you're gonna find random stuff. They want stuff that could be applied to their classroom, that they can sit there, bite-sized professional development for busy teachers. That's Tarver Academy on a roll, and I would love for you to join if you want to. If you don't have to, don't pay for it. It's not very expensive at all, but I don't want you to have to pay for it. I would rather you use your district's professional development money. So if you want, have them go in, order that for you. What happens if you sign up for the Tarver Academy on a roll? What it's gonna do is it's gonna add you value. Do you wanna get better as a teacher every week, but not have to go out and search for it? How about if we just hand it to you in an email? In the email, every week, you're gonna get either a template, a resource, you're gonna get a short PD video, professional development, a training to show you how to do something you might not know how to do, or reinforce something you're maybe already trying. You're gonna get something that makes you better every week, plus some quick tips, links to some other things, and also you can ask me questions. I have a mailbag where you get to ask questions, and that's the list I'm gonna pick from first. I wanna help you guys. If I don't know how to do it, I'll do the research for you. I'll build, you're like, oh, I really wish I had a digital interactive notebook. Guess what I'll do? I'll go in and I'll build digital interactive notebooks, and I'll give you the template. You don't have to pay teachers. You don't have to go in and throw the money at anything. I wanna just hand it to you, and I wanna do trainings for you to help you. So if you wanna join that community, I think it's super helpful, and it's essentially where I become the tech facilitator for you. It's Netflix for teacher resources, and I would love for you to join and jump on that. So if you want, go there. It's tarveracademy.com/on-a-roll, and you can sign up for that. And I think it's just gonna be a huge, it's gonna be a huge help to teachers throughout the year who have a lot going on and not a lot of time, extra time to go out and do it. It's like as teachers, they always give you more stuff to do, but they don't give you like, oh, here's like an extra 3 hours a day to go out and do whatever it is you're gonna do. So if you wanna sign up for that, you can. I hope you've used this time also to use the restroom. So if you're just getting back using the restroom, guess what? We've just been talking about Tarver Academy on a roll. No big deal. But I wanna give you guys time to go do that and get a snack if you need it. Whatever you need to do, we're about to kick back into, we're about to jump back in it. We're gonna fall back into the gap, fall into the gap. Man, do y'all remember that? That was a good campaign. That was memorable. Wasn't it? Memorable? Yeah, sure. Okay, so we're about to get started. We'll get started here very soon, and we're gonna jump back in, we're gonna keep learning. All right, let's do it. Let's go. We're still doing this. In the chat, here we go. In the chat, I want you to tell me the name. Okay, ooh, don't say that. I was gonna say, tell me the name of, you know what? You can do that. Tell me the name of a teacher who made an impact on you and what they did. Why did they have an impact on you? In the chat, what name of a teacher or an educator that had an impact on you and what they did to have an impact. It was either the way they treated you, the way they ran their class, or the way they inspired you, or just the way they had structure maybe. They were reliable, they were consistent. I would love to hear in the chat, name of a teacher that motivated you as a student or as another teacher and what they did. So let's throw that in the chat, and we're about to get started. We're gonna jump back into it. We're about to get started. We're gonna jump back into it like a pogo stick. See that? See what I did there? Nope. Okay, all right, let's get going. Okay, we're on our last section, last portion, which is Miss Kiefer is about to show us some cool stuff with Google Sheets. And one of the things I'd love for you to do, and I'll tell you this, she had a session in our Google Forms as well. And she did these for the same exact sessions for the Digital Educator Conference. And I think that this is I've never seen anyone create a presentation like this, which is genius. And I'm just super excited that she's gonna share with us a little bit about Google Sheets. And I hope you can take something away from it. Make sure you go on Twitter, take a picture, tag her, and tell her thank you for giving us this incredible information today. So thank you guys so much. And let's roll into the last portion, Google Sheets. You can do with Miss Sarah Kiefer.
Hey everyone, my name is Sarah Kiefer, and I am a Google Certified Innovator, Trainer, and Level 1 and Level 2 Certified Educator for Google, and I love Google. I love it. I'm all in. It's fantastic, but that's not where my story started. I actually really did not like Google at first. And then I saw the power of Google and the ease of which everything works together. So then I jumped in. A little background about me is I was a classroom teacher for 14 years before I stepped into my current technology integration specialist role, and I absolutely love it. And I have grown so much, and I've seen so many different sides of Google. I was teaching at the 7th and 8th grade level, and then this job that happened was down at the elementary level. So now I'm working with pre-K to grades 4, and I love it. I love every day. But that's not also to mistake the fact that it's tough, especially in the world that we live in. And that's where I think Google really can leverage a lot of power for you. And one of them, little known, little used by a lot of teachers, is Google Sheets. And if you look at Google Sheets, you go, ugh, kind of a dry spreadsheet. And who likes spreadsheets? There's a small section of the population that likes spreadsheets. I can't say that I was a huge fan of spreadsheets. And then I started looking at Google Sheets in a different way. So if you stop and you look at Google Sheets and you say all it is a spreadsheet, go ahead, wipe your hands and you're done. But today I want to show you how spreadsheets are not as boring or as limited as you might think that they are. And actually, I think there's a tremendous amount of power with what you can do in your classroom with your students in Google Sheets. But to start it off, we all have to kind of have this common vocabulary, correct? So I actually have this whole entire presentation about Google Sheets on a Google Sheet, which I know is not your typical presentation. So that's the first thing that I want to show you is I did my whole presentation for this on a Google Sheet. So just check it out. Giant picture right here. How many of you didn't even think you could insert a picture? That's right, I did. Coloring in the squares, putting in links and naming tabs down here at the bottom. You can go a long way with Google Sheets. So the first tab that I have here is to get us with the common vocabulary. There's a lot of vocabulary, and what I say about all of the different Google products is if you can really kind of master this toolbar up here, get used to it in one, understand different icons and what gives you more options, you're going to understand the toolbar across all of the G Suite. So keep that in mind as you go through and you learn various different pieces to these toolbars. It's not identical in all of the tools, but it's very, very similar. So it's a very comfortable feeling up here. So what I did was I used a sheet to provide some vocabulary. Think about this, language arts teachers, math teachers, science teachers, social studies teachers. You could generate a sheet, create a sheet for your students, or have them create it. And one column easily becomes words. One column becomes the definitions. Maybe a third column could be a picture or a link to something else. Think how awesome that would be to have your students all working together in one sheet and have it somewhat organized. Because once you have them in there, use the columns to alphabetize, put things in order, timestamp them. It's really, truly start thinking about using a sheet, not for data capturing purposes, but for your classroom purposes. There's a lot of vocabulary that's specific to Sheets that you don't necessarily find in other Google applications. So when you scroll through and you look at these different words, know that some of them are going to be things specific to Sheets. And some of them are things that are pretty awesome about Sheets. I personally love when I realized that I could combine. If you look at this cell right here, I have 2 cells combined because I wanted the picture bigger, but I also still needed the smaller space for the text. So being able to merge cells is awesome. And as you keep going, outlining different things, you're highlighting, you're drawing people's attention to it. It can be done in Google Sheets, and it doesn't just have to be your traditional highlighter type. Down here in this section, I broke out some of the icons that you'll find on the toolbar just to give you a better understanding and a better look at what each of those icons are all about. The second thing I'd like to show you about Google Sheets is various formatting and formulas. And what I designed this sheet to do, again, think about in your particular content or with your particular students, you could design a task, putting them in order. So you give your students some structure and then some instructions over here on the other side. On this one, I have it broken down into 2 areas. Formatting is on the left and formulas is more in the center of the sheet. But I've got 8 tasks for the people who would like to go through and do this. I've even linked into some help topics. On the left side, the formatting side, I have 11 tasks. Think about a checklist for your students, a way to help your students stay organized. Do one thing and then do another thing. Google Sheets is great for that. Skipping over to finding my tab 3, data. Who doesn't have data these days? Everyone has data. You have data probably coming out of your ears, out the wazoo. Like it's just data, data, data everywhere you got, right? So here are some tasks designed to help you do something in Sheets with your data. It doesn't just have to sit there. Creating new tabs, setting up a checklist, deciding all of your column headers. This is meant to get you kind of involved in the creation, the customization of a Google Sheet. There's so much that can be done. And again, don't stop and say, well, this is my job as a teacher. These are things that your students can do. These are probably things that your students should do. How about balancing a bank book? If you teach any of the social studies or the economics, having some sort of financial literacy is probably part of your content area somewhere. Balancing bank books, math, adding, subtracting, creating formulas. Let the sheet do some of that work, but you've got to understand how that works to put it into your sheet. Next up is how could you use Sheets in other ways? So here again, I've got it designed out as tasks. So typing numbers. I'll give you a little insight. Ready? A little heads up, a little excitement here. If I typed in a number, let's see what happens. Doesn't just say that number, does it? I told the sheet to type or to create the cell blue when I typed in a 6. Conditional formatting. It's a fantastic use of using the cells in Sheets. Type in a 2, it's a different color. Kind of a little intro coding, if you will. Flippity is an awesome resource if you are a Sheets person or if you are a classroom teacher or a student. I love telling teachers, hey, check out flippity.net. It's phenomenal. This guy, Steve Fortna, has created all of these different tools based off of a Google Sheet. It's pretty impressive. I have my own, I have a 5th grader and a 3rd grader, and I have them using one of Steve's tools to make flashcards for review, or for my 3rd grader to practice her spelling words. And she loves it. It's kind of gamified in a way. And it's all built from a Google Sheet. Of course, Google's digital applied digital skills, can't say enough about that. That's, you know, ready to go lessons in a tremendous amount of different areas that you could utilize. Pixel art, it's kind of what I was getting to up in here with changing the colors of the cells. Pixel art, I've got a few resources linked on here. And then curation. Sheets are perfect, kind of like I alluded to earlier, where you could have people, dates, facts, locations in one column, and then you could have the descriptions. Think about having your kids then justifying why did you pick this person? Why is this person important in this segment of history? Why did this scientist get written down in any of our science books? Like, what was their impact? And being able to justify that, whether it's with some research, whether it's just with their information typed out on it. Sheets is a great place to bring all of that together. The rest of this kind of gets into some of the nitty-gritty with sharing. And again, if you are comfortable sharing with a Google Doc or a Google Slide, sharing in Google Sheets is a lot the same. Please know that we're talking about the general overarching share settings as opposed to, I want to just share this sheet. That's a little bit different. If I just wanted to share this one particular tab out of my entire workbook, that's where you're going to have to kind of dig in a little bit. And then, of course, I always wrap up with a myriad of various resources. Google always, always, always provides some pretty awesome resources from themselves. And then Ben Collins is, I call him the Sheets Wizard, because he just knows so much and he's just constantly putting out awesome new content. If you don't follow him, I really suggest that you do. Eric Kurtz is another amazing, amazing educator and does awesome things with Google Sheets. I've written a lot on my blog, Tech You Can Do, about Google Sheets. And keep in mind, a lot of my adventures are with my K4 age group. So I'm not talking that you have to have a huge background with technology or school or anything. I'm working with the littlest ones. They can do it. They 100% can do it. I'm a heavy, heavy, heavy Wakelet user. So I have a Sheets Wakelet where I just collect tips and tricks and different resources that you can go into, constantly building on that. And then, of course, there's other items from Google that will always help you out with Google Sheets. And then down here, this last tab was one where I had made copies and was doing some work on the inside just to kind of show off some of the main points of Google Sheets. The bottom line with Google Sheets is it's not just a spreadsheet. You can go wherever you want with a Google Sheet. So don't sell it short. Try it out.
If I want to throw a question at you, if you don't mind,
Sure.
I would love to know, I'm going to share this. There we go. I would love to know, what is something that you see K through fourth grade? Because I feel like, especially with like sheets, slides, a lot of the younger grades feel like, well, my kids, I'm trying to teach them how to read, much less do some of this stuff. And I mean, my tip for that is always, my kids, when they want to search YouTube, they just hit the voice thing and they say it. Like they'll do video games, just tap the voice and talk. So I always say that. But what are some things that you see specifically with Google Sheets that you see some of your K through 6 teachers doing that you think is really good, like either daily or weekly?
Okay, so I don't have examples of this.
That's okay. That's totally okay.
In my third grade, they're very big on using sheets either populated from a Google form. They do surveys. And then obviously the Google form populates your Google Sheet. But then they like to take the kids a little bit further and creating charts. So in the bottom right-hand corner, using the Explore button, when you have a sheet full of data, like names, and maybe they asked a survey question like, do you prefer potato chips or a chocolate chip cookie? Or what's your favorite color, red, orange, or blue? That kind of thing. To then show the kids how they can pull up the Explore button and it will pre-populate charts and of various natures, depending on how much data you actually have on your sheet, and allowing the kids to see the charts and not skipping over. I understand, like, we're skipping over the actual creation of the chart, but what I like to do is then have this conversation, the teachers have the conversation with the kids. Okay, so based on the data that we have over here, is this a good representation or is this a good representation? And doing a little bit of compare and contrast. And it's with, really minimal data that you got in the sheet. And most of the time it's a survey that the kids wanted to do, for fun or whatever. But then if they say, hey, that pie chart's looking really good, then you dig in and then you can have that discussion of what makes this a good representation. You're hitting some pretty high level thinking skills and really getting those kids to dig into what does that mean to have a good chart and why, and with the kids talking about it. So that's one thing that I love. And I think we should do more of, but I think teachers are very intimidated by sheets, but they don't have to be.
Yeah, I'm with you. As somebody who taught math for a long time, I know that whenever we used to have data days and all the teachers would go in the library and do it. And it's like, they can, like they're all smart. It's just, they get intimidated by those, either the numbers or just the amount of it. And and I think we as teachers, that's something we need to just be like, hey, it's okay to ask, it's okay to continue those questions, especially since that's what we want our students to do. So that was fantastic. Is there anything else that you want to say or throw out there? That was incredible. I'm going to say this too. I am genuinely impressed. You made this entire presentation on Google Sheets. Like I've done stuff with Sheets. I have never made a presentation with it. Like as soon as you turn it on, I was just like low key 10 points to Gryffindor. That was very, very impressive. So, and it looked clean too. You did it. You couldn't see the boxes. Like, I just love that you modeled that through that and then used the tabs that were genius going through there. So thank you so much, Sarah. That was incredible.
And I'm not going to lie. Like this was one that I was giddy proud of. Like I was like, good job. Like it dawned on me because I love slides. I love me a good slide. I really, really do. But I was like, people are so intimidated by sheets because they don't actually open up a sheet and like do something. I'm like, I'm going to force them. I'm going to make them. And I was like, yeah, like the tabs kind of like a slide. Like, okay, you can, merge the cells kind of in any way. Get rid of all that other crap. You don't need that. And I was just like, oh, Sarah, wait till you see forms.
Oh my goodness.
That was another thing. I was like, I didn't know you could do this. And I did, but.
Well, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. It was, I'll tell you this, you get all the points. All the points for today, you get them. That was incredible.
Oh, for today? Thanks.
For today. They'll last for the rest of the year, so you're good to go. Oh. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything that you want to say parting before we move on to the next section?
Is this where you want me to this is how you get
say anything you want. Pitch yourself. Your links are in the bio, but you can talk them through anywhere they can find you, anything like that.
You see my lovely banner, Tech You Can Do. I really do believe that technology in the classroom, but also like with our students and everything, does not have to be these mind-blowing, amazing, super detailed. Sometimes it's get those precious little ones logged in, and that is half of your battle. And then let's explore with them. Like, let's let them see what they can do. So I do believe very much that I just want to do my part to help inspire you and move education positively forward. So that is the theme of my blog, techyoucando.com. You can find it. I try to push something out every week. Most of the time, I'm pretty good about that. You can also find me on Twitter at KieferSJ, as well as on Wakelet, and I'm on Facebook. So reach out, email me, contact me, however you see fit. So I'd love to help you out.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Sarah. Y'all check her out. All her links are listed everywhere you are. And so thank you guys. And that's awesome. Great. We did it. We did it. We learned something. Did you learn something today? In the chat, I want you to put the thing that you are taking away from today. Put one thing in the chat right now that you have learned or that you have realized or that's reinforced something you think. Put that one that I like to call this the golden nugget. Put the golden nugget from today in the chat. And that way, if somebody's missed it or they checked in, go ahead and you guys can copy paste what other people put. If there's some advice, you can screenshot it. Get this. I want you to throw in the best thing you learned today. It's like a best of highlight reel for your favorite thing that happened during this training. Toss that in the chat right now so we can share and grow together. Okay, we're about to do the evaluation. Before we do, I want to remind you, if you want access to this entire training at any time throughout the year, not just these live broadcasts, you can join the Tarver Academy Honor Roll. Why'd I do this? Hey guys, Tarver Academy Honor Roll. It's like Netflix for teachers. Netflix for teachers, because you have resources, you have templates, you have PDs, trainings. It's literally like a library of trainings, and then access to ask questions, to request resources that I build and send out to teachers all around the world. So tarveracademy.com/honor roll if you want to join the greatest community on the planet. And I'm not biased at all. I mean, all of us, you're on the honor roll. You want to be on the honor roll? Sick. Let's all be on the honor roll. And I'm a dean, so you can be on the dean's list. Hey, that works. Okay. All right. Now it's time for your evaluation. I'd love to get your thoughts on what you thought for this, but also I'm going to send you a certificate saying that you sat through this training. You put in the time. You wanted to learn. You wanted to grow. You wanted to get better. This is going to be a certificate that I'm going to email to you. What I need you to do is I need you to go to the link on the screen or hover over the QR code with your phone. Get your phone out, hover over it. It's going to ask you a few questions. If you don't get this, it means that you put your email address in wrong. Make sure, please do not rush this. Type your email address in correctly. Please, I'm begging you, because if not, you're going to email me, I never got my certificate. It's because your email address is wrong. Type in your email address correctly, fill it out, fill out your name, make sure you capitalize, make it look good, because it's going to fill into the certificate from this. So I need you to put this in correctly. Please, okay, go there. We're gonna walk you through it. Go into this, click on the link, or is it, you can't click on the link because it's on a video. Type in the link on your computer or type it in on your phone or whatever device you have. Scan the QR code, fill it out. I'm gonna send you a certificate with a timestamp on it saying what time you ended. You have proof from earlier if you sent in to the other link of what time you started. And then you also got your notes and all the stuff you've learned, your screenshots, all of that to show your administrator or whoever, your spouse. You show your friends, show people on the streets, all the learning that you did. You can frame that certificate. I think we're all getting framed. You get a frame? I'm getting framed. I'm gonna put it up on my shelf. I got too much stuff on my shelf already. So look at this, Lonzo Ball rookie card. If you got any, by the way, you got any basketball cards you want to sell? Hit me up. I've been slightly obsessed with basketball cards, and I apologize for bringing it up. Look at this. This is all Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball, I mean, he's the GOAT. Everybody says it. Who's in the chat? Who is your favorite basketball player of all time? I'd love to know. If it was Lonzo Ball, it's quite the coincidence because I had it sitting on my desk. If not, it's probably this guy. Probably this guy right here. See that guy? That's Michael Jordan. No big deal. It's whatever. Don't like to brag about it. I mean, it's not that expensive, that card. But if you got any cards you want to sell, holler at me. I don't know why I said that. I'm just stalling so you guys can fill out your evaluation. All right. Y'all feel good? I'm gonna leave this on the screen for you for a little while in case you had to step out for a second. I'm gonna leave this up. Thank you again so much for your attention and your time and everything that you put into learning and growing with us today. I'm Tyler. This is Tarver Academy. Let's learn to have fun. See you guys later.